What's up, everybody? Thursday night live stream. Let's do it. We've only got 34 people in here right now. Hopefully we can get a few more folks hanging out. I'm sure, it's Thursday night. It's September 12th, so what? NFL probably, right? Let's see. The Bills and the Dolphins, they playing right now? Yeah. Oh, well. Hit that like button on your way in. We're going to have a fun night. I've got some blinds to do for you guys. I'm actually going to do 2 blinds tonight. One is going to be kind of a dedicated blind flight that just showed up today, actually, from Justin, who is a Patreon member, friend of the channel, all that kind of good stuff. Justin sent 2 blinds over. I'm going to do his first of those blinds. And I have cards written out here from Sarah. I'm not going to flip them up and show you because then I'll see the answers. But she was nice enough to write these cards out for that blind. Got some new pours on the table this evening. As you can see, we've got Beyonce's whiskey, which is rye whiskey finished in sherry casks, 88 proof, which all things considered, it's not 80 proof, so, whatever. But it's a sherry finished rye, which is like really interesting, I think, given the fact that it's a celebrity whiskey, beautiful presentation as far as I'm concerned. I don't really know the SRP on this. I paid over for it because it's not in Ohio. I had to get this, secondhand or whatever. So we'll be, looking up the SRP of this bottle, talking about it. I've heard some strangely positive things about it. And when you say sherry finished rye, that's kind of like, I'm into that. That's a good combination of things. Distilled in Indiana, too, so it's got to be MGP. So we're going to dive into Beyonce's whiskey. We're going to dive into this Woodinville 8-year, 100 proofer. Another kind of interesting whiskey for the year. I've got, again, that blind flight that I talked about. I also have a sample of Remus Repeal Batch 8. Remus Repeal Reserve Batch 8. So we can get into this tonight as well. Let's see. Let me see who's in the chat. Please do hit that like button on your way in, if you don't mind. All the single ladies. Russ said we had 200 at 9:05. That's funny, Russ. Okay, and then on the topic of like single barrels and stuff, this is a pretty cool thing that just showed up today. So Chad Huffman, who I don't know if some of you guys know who Chad Huffman is, he has a barrel club called Mythical, and he's pretty well known for doing like all sorts of barrel picks, but in particular his MGP picks are just, very highly regarded. And this is a barrel that actually we tasted at our very first barrel pick we ever did at River Roots when we picked that first Drums and Drams rye whiskey there, which is an 11.5-year MGP. We wanted this barrel so bad because it is 133 proof basically, and it's freakishly dark. We ended up passing on this for another barrel, and at the time, if I could go back in time, I would have picked them both, knowing that MGP Rye would actually sell on our Patreon. But I'm so glad that Chad picked this because, he picked this many months ago, and I finally got 2 bottles of it. So we're going to give away one of these bottles tonight. You can see I've already cracked this open, but I haven't actually tasted it. I'm going to go back and taste this barrel and just kind of reminisce on that first barrel pick experience. So we're going to give away one of these bottles tonight, and then we're going to give away one other thing that I actually don't even have in my hands, which is a little sketchy. I understand that. But it's the Evernorth pick that's dropping tomorrow on the channel, the 9-year experimental Sagamore MGP Burai blend, finished in a used wave stave cask. We're dropping that in the Patreon tomorrow, but the second place winner in the giveaway is going to get a bottle of that. And then both folks that win tonight are going to get samples of the Woodinville, of Beyonce's whiskey, because why not? You should taste it for yourself. And I think that's going to be it. So 2 giveaway prizes this evening. I'll throw up a little banner for that right now. For a River, I'll just call this for a River Roots 133 proof rye pick or Evernorth 9-year pick. It is 133. Is that what I said? Yeah. Okay. So let me know what you guys are sipping on this evening. I'm going to get something in my glass because I haven't had a sip of anything. I just ran River Roots 133 rye. Okay, we got that right. I just ran a randomizer in the Patreon and royally screwed it up, so I'm kind of pissed off at myself right now. I'm going to let that go, but, just trying to multitask and do too many things at once, and whenever you do that, It's like when you're trying to rush to get out the door, and then your belt loop catches on a doorknob or a hand. You know what I mean? Some stupid thing like that, or it's just that situation. Rushing around is never good. Never, never good. All right. What's up, Nick? Good to see you. So let me know what's in your glass, guys. I'm going to say cheers. We're kicking off with a little bit of, this is a sample sent in by Tony Bag of Donuts. This is the Bourbon Junkies Eagle Rare Pick. So I always start with an Eagle Rare Pick. I have not tasted this sample yet, I don't believe. So thank you, Tony, for sharing this bottle that was, these were all stolen right by that store in D.C. So cheers, guys. Oh, shit, that's good. That's super dark. Wow. I really like that Eagle Rare Pick. Very, very dark, and then kind of at the end of the palate, there's this bright strawberry candy thing that hits. Wow. Very good. You know, I'm not going to overhype this, but there's a note in here that reminds me of when we did the OFC, the Double Eagle, the Millennium. The OFC and the Double Eagle those are both Mash Bill 1, I think, as well. Yeah. This has a note that those two have. It's not as old, obviously, but it has a similarity to those two. That's pretty cool. Obviously, saying that without a direct comparison is totally memory-based and speculative, so don't take that as law. Joe is sipping on some Going Nuts. Yeah, guys, so we sold out. We did sell out of this pick today. So it's the longest one of our barrel picks has ever sat on Bourbon Outfitter. I was a little worried about it, but we did sell this out today after about, I guess it was 13 days since we released this. So Going Nuts is now officially went nuts because it is gone. So thank you guys if you did pick up a bottle of that. We've gotten some very positive feedback on that barrel. Also some negative feedback on it because, some folks picked it up, I think, hopeful that it would be maybe like a mind changer on a nutty profile, and it is a pretty nutty profile, just admittedly. So some good feedback, positive and negative, but it's been good to know that the majority of folks, I think, are enjoying that pick. So it's been exciting. Russ says, congrats on Going Nuts. Your retirement plans are back on track. Yeah, right. We're really raking it in on selling that Going Nuts. Yeah, Jeb was going to buy one if there were any left tomorrow with the Evernorth pick, and today I texted him and I said, I may have just saved you money. That's funny. Parker's drinking some Burai. Which year are you drinking, Parker? Okay, Mike has got some Night Stalker 1 in the glass. B522 for Russ. That's actually kind of a sleeper batch, B522, if I recall. It's not amazing, but I think it was actually, as far as like the modern batches, if you're talking Elijah Craig, that is, and not Larceny. But actually, you know what? Larceny B522 is also pretty good. Copperwolf says, the guy who works with Glenmorangie, yeah, and he also works with Ardbeg, Dr. Bill Lumsden, is part of the Sir David team. Okay, that's good news. Although I guess I don't know his pedigree with working, with American whiskey. I don't know how, as somebody who's dealing with, like from his perspective, I don't know if he feels differently about working between those different styles. I would imagine it's probably pretty different, but he's also kind of a wizard apparently, so... let's see. Paul says, saw the Beyonce rye in several stores today, around $70. Okay. So I definitely overpaid for that then. But I wanted to get one here to do a review on it, Dan's multitasking, drinking football, all that stuff. Good to see everybody. I'm not going to pull everybody's names up to start. I want to get into the stream and everything. Oh, the Bourbon Junkies were here? Oh, Dan, you son of a bitch, if that's Dan. Oh, man. This guy is always late. Okay, now I'm getting back to the good stuff, I guess, huh? I'm here for the Beyonce whiskey. Oh, my God. All right, we're going to scroll all the way back down. Matt is drinking Bardstown Weeded, Bottled, and Bond. I wish I could get into that pour. But I think with some more age, I think I would probably like their weeded stuff better. What's up, Justin? Going Nuts is intense. Hanging with friends in Florida, says Jeremy. That's cool. Catch up later. Nice, man. Have fun. Parker, I don't trust any man's opinion on Buffalo Trace whiskey unless they're wearing a potato costume. Well, you're in luck. I have one literally in the closet in front of me. At any point in this stream, I could put a potato costume on. Jason decided to drink Old Stubby Batch 2 tonight. Got it after your suggestion. I'm glad you enjoy it, Jason, and I'm excited to have you on the short barrel pick as well. Alex saw the Beyonce at a big box store in Texas for $95. So actually some different price points, it sounds like, here. Okay. Tom, I got here late and was later than Cam. That's hard to do, Tom. Booker's 2024-02 free. I don't remember which batch that is. I haven't tried any Bookers this year, I don't think. And we got some Chunky Monkey in the glass. All right. Cool. So, guys, we're ready to get into it here. Well, if whoever was here, Dan or Sean, and probably Dan, and he's probably gone by now. No one tell him I complimented his Eagle Rare pick. He doesn't need to know, since he wants to make fun of me for being almost as tall as he is. Actually pretty close, you know. Phil says 95 also in Connecticut. Wow, I think I'd have to look. I think I paid $120 for this plus shipping. But I knew that was overpriced. I knew that I just wanted to get it and taste it and see what it was all about. What's up, Clay? I hope everyone's well. A bit under the weather with the cold, so some hot tea tonight. Good choice. Okay. Where are we going to start this evening? Why don't we start with the Beyonce whiskey? Let's just get straight into it, you know? Okay, actually, I have a story for you guys. We're 12 minutes into the live. Hopefully it's late night enough to tell this story. Okay. I have a thought about what the whiskey is in this Beyonce whiskey. I know it's MGP. But Jeb, this smells like something. This smells like Barrel B that we were blending with at the Whiskey Blendery. I think it's probably that high malt rye. Actually smells pretty good though. I'll be honest with you about that. Quick Beyonce story. Not necessarily, it's not horrible, but it's also not family friendly necessarily. When I was very young, 5, 6, 7 years old, something, 8, 9, I have no idea. I don't have any concept of actually when this was, but it was in the elementary range, let's say. Probably not 5. That's too young for this. Probably more like 8, 9, 10, something like that. I Googled on my grandparents' computer, and if my parents are watching, I don't know if they would remember this or not, but I definitely got caught because history exists. I Googled Beyonce nude, but I'll never forget this. I spelled nude, N-E-U-D. Like, I overthought how to spell that word so hard that I did N-E-U-D. Beyonce nude. Yes. It's my wife, and she knows. And there you go. Anyways, let's taste Beyonce's whiskey, which I'm sure she had probably nothing to do with. I've got to make an emoji. I got to make some emoji for the YouTube members to use, like N-E-U-D. That's it. She literally just walked in the freaking door from dinner with one of her friends tonight, and that's what I get. I haven't even said hi to her. She walked in when the stream started. That's what I get. All right. So on to this whiskey. And as a reminder, we are doing the giveaway for this bottle of 133 proof, 11.5 year, an unopened one, of course, MGP rye from River Roots, which is this pick is freaking bonkers. Chad, and the guy that did this pick, again, Chad Huffman, who has the mythical group. Chad and I split a barrel at River Roots, which is going to be the Drums and Drams 2024 limited edition in November, which I have a sample of here. I can taste this for you guys tonight. He and I are splitting that barrel, which is pretty cool. So we're collaborating on this. I thought this would be a cool way to highlight one of his picks, which I think is an outstanding pick, and to share it with you guys. And then the second place winner will get what's going to release tomorrow in the Patreon, which is that Evernorth 9-year experimental. So every $5 super chat is an entry into that, is what I'm trying to say. And if you want to super chat directly to me and skip the YouTube cut, Venmo, PayPal info is in the description of the video. So the Beyonce whiskey, to me, I'm just going to keep calling it Beyonce whiskey. It's called Sir Davis because I think it's her great-great-grandfather or somebody had some hand in making whiskey. This smells like... oh, man. It's some sort of like pastry note in here. But it's also very, very herbal. Like, there's a sweetness to it, this kind of barley, malty honey sweetness that feels extremely granular on the nose. And then there's this like heavy dose of herbal on it as well from the rye. A little like a little chemical, a little artificial something going on in here too. But the sherry, the sherry finish on here does add a nice layer of kind of just generic red fruit sweetness, I would say. So like on the nose, I could be critical of this, and I'm going to be critical of it, especially at the price point, especially being a celebrity brand, only 88 proof. But honest to God, this could be a whole hell of a lot worse on the nose, and it's not. All right, so... Sir Davis would not have appreciated that Google search cam. Oh, Jesus. Will, you spelled it wrong, dude. You spelled it wrong from being wrong. My mom's here. Oh, Jesus. Oh my, everybody's Venmoing me saying, please send nudes. Oh. I'm actually, so the more I've like lost in thought now. The more I'm smelling this, do you guys remember there's a red 7-Up. It's like a flavored, 7-Up's all flavored. But what is the red 7-Up? 7-Up cherry? Is it cherry? Oh, there's a pomegranate one too. It's one of those. This smells like one of those. Maybe cherry 7-Up or pomegranate 7-Up. Like pretty distinctly. But there is just this malted component to it. So let's go to the palate. That's pretty freaking good. That's super crushable. Interestingly, oh wow. And like it tastes like a sherried scotch on the back end. Like it has like that almost, I would say in this case, this is almost like a PX sherry kind of feel. It's got that chocolatey thing on the finish that a lot of PX sherry might have. Wow. Look, the palate on this is super crushable, even for being a rye. The nose actually smells overproof. Like, I think this completely jumps out of the glass on the nose. Probably disproportionately for only being 88. And then I think on the palate, it drinks appropriately 88 proof. So whether or not you like the nose or the palate on this, I would give credit to this being like so fragrant out of the glass. I kind of like that. But maybe I just have a, lingering, Let me see. Let me see if this is the high malt. Like it's like 5149 or something. Mash maybe is that like that's what MGP mash I feel like this is. It's got that malt component on the palate. It feels like yes, 5149 malted barley. That's what. And I'm not a big fan of this mash bill, generally. And on the nose here, it stands out so much. And I'm like, I don't know. But the palate of this is non-offensive. It's like very silky smooth, that kind of profile. Literally tastes like, or smells like cherry 7-Up. Tastes more like a sherried scotch in many ways. But with enough rye spice there to kind of back it up. I'm making this too easy. All right. I want to hate this whiskey, and I don't hate this whiskey. It's like, if like let's say in a perfect world this was $50, kind of a good deal. Kind of a good deal. If it's 70, that's about as much as I'd want to pay for this. But I'm telling you, I'm not the biggest fan of the nose on this because it's very malty, and I love Scotch, but I don't love that 5149 mash bill from MGP. But the palate is pretty nice, pretty crushable. So I'm actually pretty shocked that I kind of like this. This is a top celebrity whiskey probably for me, I would say. What else would be in that conversation? The Lagavulin Offerman editions for sure. Bruce Buffer, Puncher's Chance is not great. Proper 12, terrible. Tiger Thick, terrible. Rare Stash, haven't had it. Matt Porter said it's terrible. I believe Matt Porter. And I don't remember what else, like celebrity-wise, is pretty solid. But like this would probably be in the top conversation for me. But the best celebrity whiskeys are the Offerman edition Lagavulins, easily. Long Branch, I think I've had Long Branch once in my life. I don't even remember it. Blackened, I don't know. It's like, I've had Blackened, but there's also a lot of different expressions. I mean more just like the core offering from a celebrity whiskey, not something that's been blown out. I will say the American Highway, is that what it was called? American Highway? Bardstown did it for a Country Star. American Highway, who was associated with that? It's a guitarist, right? Or a Country Star? Is it Jason Aldean? No, that's Wolf Moon. Who did American Highway? Because, okay, so here's the deal. The reason I'm bringing up American Highway, the second batch sucked. It was, Brad Paisley. Second batch was god-awful, horrible. Batch 1 of American Highway was really, really good. It was just super overpriced. It had a lot of older whiskey in it, but it had enough younger whiskey to make it not deserve the price point that it had, which is $100. American Highway Batch 1, this whiskey here, Lagavulin Offerman, those would be like top celebrity whiskeys for me, I would say. Traveler. Yeah, we're good on the Traveler. We're good on that. Oh my God. Oh God, to the left. Okay, well, let's move on from this. Not bad. I don't know SRP. I should look it up. I should actually look it up. Sir Davis Whiskey SRP. SRP is $89. So whoever said $70, yeah, 89's too much for this, you know. But if it was 70, I'd be like, not the worst thing in the world. 89, no. But for somebody looking to get it for a Beyonce fan in your life or whatever, okay, I could see it. Yeah. Clay says, bottle looks like an oversized version of an 80s cologne you'd buy at a mall cubicle. It definitely looks like that. Joe, the Smashing Pumpkins bottle's good if you like drinking whiskey that's been soaking the socks from a middle school gym class. Which one? What is the Smashing Pumpkins whiskey? Brothers Bond. Okay, yeah. To be fair, Traveler's $40. That's true, Parker. That's true. Price point makes a big difference there, I think. Slipknot. I haven't had the number 9 stuff. I'm a die-hard Slipknot fan, though, from 6th grade to now. Okay. Let's move on. Whoever wins tonight's giveaway will get a sample of that. I'll throw it in there for sure. Wait, did Sarah type that? Because Sarah sent me a text that says, "Can't wait to see who changes their name to Beyonce Nude first in your Discord." So I wonder if that was her in the chat that said that. People that are just now joining the stream are like, "What is going on?" You're wondering, and I'm also wondering. Okay, let's move on. What I'm gonna do here is, I forgot to say one other thing, one other blind flight that we're gonna do tonight. I said there was gonna be 2 blinds. We're gonna do an Evernorth Spirits rye blind between 5 different bottles, and I gotta say thank you to Maury for the assist on this. I think I was gonna do this on another stream, and I ran out of time, or I'd consumed too much alcohol, and I was like, no, we're not gonna do this. I have both Sarah and my picks in the mix. I might just whittle that down to Sarah's pick, honestly. We've already compared those to Matt Porter's pick. We know that his pick's good, so we're not going to put that in there. We've already been put to shame once. So it'll be maybe both of our picks or one of them up against Rye 3, 4, and 6 from Evernorth. I have Rye 1. We don't need to put Rye 1 in there. It's not a fair comparison. That was a super short barrel. Rye 2 I don't have, and Rye 5 I don't think I have either, unless somebody sent me a sample and I couldn't find it. If that's the case, tell me in the chat that you sent me one. Yeah, Gypsy is a celebrity whiskey, I think. We're going to do Woodinville. Now let's do Remus next, and then we'll do Woodinville. So let's do Remus Repeal Batch 8 next. I want a sample of Slipknot 9. Sure, man. I would be down for that for sure. I don't think we even get it in the state of Ohio. So I've only seen the Slipknot, and maybe that's not true. Maybe we do get it now. Let me look, because if I can, I don't want you to go through the trouble of all that. I wonder if it would be called Slipknot, or if it's just called like number 9. No, I don't think we get it here. I've never seen it. Gypsy is Eric Church. I've heard good things about Gypsy, but it's also very expensive from what I understand. Travis, I don't need to put the Port Nerds in there because, we that wasn't in our top 3 when we did our pick. And the only reason was the finish, because the profile on Port Nerds is probably my favorite profile out of all the barrels. It was just the finish for us. But man, that's a great one. I just don't want to put that in this comparison, because really this comparison is more about testing Junkies Rye 3, 4, and 6. Because I've always said that I thought the picks that we did were better. And then Rye 4 in that 8-pour blind that we did with the Junkies, Rye 4 was like, was Rye 4 second place? It was like in the top. We loved Rye 4 in that blind. Meshuggah whiskey. Okay. The pumpkins thing is few. I've never had few whiskey. Okay. So, Remus Repeal Batch 8. So batch 8, we've gotten one extra proof point. We are at 101 proof, or 50.5%. This is 91% 10 years old. 91% of this is 10 years old. And then 9% of it is 17 years old, which is crazy. 17-year-old MGP, like when it gets that old, MGP to me sings. It's so good. Anybody that gets their hands on the upcoming River Roots 18-year MGP release is going to love their lives. It's amazing. So, as far as ages go, versus price point, versus proof, on paper, the value of this to me is even, if not a little bit below even, Because at 101 proof, I'm thinking about like, I could probably go out and get a barrel pick of 10, 11-year MGP bourbon, something like that at cask strength. You can get that around the same price. And this is 101 proof. I know this has a little bit of 17-year splashed in, but let's just taste it. Let's see what's going on here. I would say on the nose, it's pretty rich on the nose, pretty dense, concentrated, kind of down the middle MGP fruitiness. It's not particularly grapey or dark fruit. I mean, there's some dark notes, but I think the dark notes in here are more of that root beer quality that I talk about on some of these MGPs. And the fruitiness to me feels a little bit more down the middle. Like in the realm of like apricot, peach, orange, you know, not like grape plum necessarily. But there is a nice cola thing here. All right, let's taste it. It's a little bit... Yeah. I think that's pretty good. Let me grab something. All right. I don't know. I got to compare this to, like, this is Remus 3. I don't have 2 and 4 anymore. And 5, I think, is an unfair comparison because 5 is so ridiculous. So let me just put this next to Remus 3 and see like how this holds up. What year was Remus 3? So so this is 11 and 12 year. Maybe I'm being too hard on Remus 8. Maybe I just have it in my head that I'm not like because of Remus Repeal 6 and 7, maybe I have it in my head that I'm just not supposed to like 8. So this is 8. And this is 3. Yeah, that's the thing. Three has always been a flatter batch for me on the palate. But what the difference is here, and I think this is the difference between Remus 6, 7, and 8 to a lesser degree. The difference between these what I'm calling modern Remus Repeal batches versus batches 5 through 2, because I've never had batch 1. The difference is just the profile of the MGP whiskey in the blend. So batch 3, which I would extrapolate this out to all of the batches to some degree, it's a richer, fruitier, deeper profile. And this is 100 proof, so basically the same proof. It's the damp, oaky, outdoorsy, earthy quality of this with these like very rich dark fruits. It's so classic old school MGP. And then batch 8, it's that brighter, like kind of yeasty, a little bit more bready. And yes, it has that root beer note in here, but and I think we've gotten used to this profile from MGP over the last couple of years, to be honest. Like a lot of stuff that's being sourced nowadays has this profile. This is a better version of what's being sourced nowadays. And it's not sourced. Obviously, it's their own whiskey. So that's good. They've seemingly pulled better stocks for this release than they did for 6 and 7, in my opinion. And it's probably better than a lot of the stuff that's being sourced right now, which can be very aggressively yeasty and aggressively bready. This still has some of that, but not quite as much as some of those single barrels that are floating around. But it still is that brighter, sharper MGP. I just wonder what the difference is, you know? So that's 10 years old mostly, plus a little 17. I think if I had to just really speculate on how those components are interacting in the blend, there is a richness to the palate that this has that a lot of 10 and 11-year-old single barrels do not have, and I would probably attribute that richness to the 17-year in the blend. The Remus 3 is 11 and 12 years old. Fully. Like, there's no crazy old stuff in this one. And where is it at? The sample. And these both do have some 2007 bourbon in the blends that are 21% rye. Leo says, I'll drop you a sample. Oh, you have a batch 1. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I've never had the chance to taste that one. John, has River Roots indicated when 18-year MGP might drop? I think in the next week or two. It's coming up now. I still don't have an exact date. I think they're really holding that, keeping that close to their chest. So yeah, Tim, ages of the blend on 3 is 11 and 12, and mostly 11. Only 12% of it is 12 years old. So most of it's 11. So it really, in my mind, a comparable blend. But I think as far as like modern MGP goes, I think Remus 8 is just okay. I think at most it is an even or fair value. I would never say this is an above average thing. I would never say buy it, back it up. But if you're looking for just a solid MGP sipper, go for it. It is $110. I think with this profile, I know there's 17-year-old stuff in here. I think this is an $80-$90 bottle in my mind. And it's easy to say that about everything nowadays because the prices are out of control, but I think in this case, I really, really mean it right now, that this is an $80 or $90 bottle at most for me. Yeah. So, I think James G sent me this sample, so I do want to say thank you for sending this. Forgot to mention that. I think it was James, right? I'm so mixed up right now. I'm so flustered. After my horrible mistake I made on the randomizer earlier in the Patreon. Sorry, guys. Okay. So, let's see. I would love to try MGP highest dry mash bill at 12. Yeah, there's a couple MGP mash bills that I think will be interesting at a higher age. It's remarkable. Like, the old MGP profile in this comparison with batch 3 is so remarkably different. So let's do this now. Let's leave out both of these. Oh, yeah, it was James. James, sometimes I get mixed up with people because I see their Discord names and I see their names in the live chat, or pictures will be different. Like sometimes there's no thumbnail and it'll say James G instead of James Groff in the Discord. So I get so mixed up when I'm going between the live chats and the Discord. All right, so let's get into the Woodinville 8, which this thing is not cheap. This is a $150 bottle for an 8-year. I do believe these are all Kelvin barrels in this blend, and let me make sure about that. Woodinville 8-year. I'll just type Kelvin, see what it says. Isn't that true? Why is this not being easy to find? Yes, I'm 21. Please select a state. Okay, whatever. Come on now. Okay. This Woodinville website is not going to help me. I just need a press release. Okay. Oh, so it's ISC. I thought these were all Kelvins for some reason. So they're all ISC. So they did some special ISC barrels for this is what it was. I don't know why I had Kelvin in my brain. Anyways. So let's get on to it now. Woodinville 8 years, 100 proof on the dot. Very expensive bottle. Color, crazy dark. Like it really is a pretty remarkably dark color. It's got that ruby tint to it. there's something I simultaneously love and hate about this Woodinville 8-year on the nose. Like, hate is a strong word. I shouldn't have even said that. I really love stuff on here, and then I kind of dislike some things. I don't hate any part of this on the nose. It smells like a baked cherry pie. Like, just, if I had to give you one note, that would be it. Parker, what did Parker say? Okay, stop clicking that. What did Parker say? Like a lower proof rare character Rio. Is that what you were talking about, Russ? So the Woodinville 8-year has a lot of great, like, deep, rich, baked, like, pie notes. Like, straight up, there's, like, pecan pie notes in here and fresh cherry pie. Kind of like, I have two things in my mind. Earl Grey and orange syrup. I don't know why. But there is kind of like this citrus component to it, this sweet orange note. But it still has that, like, kind of crafty, farmy thing. Like the grain note that you get out of Woodinville. I wondered if that would kind of age out at 8 years old with these special barrels. You see the color of the whiskey. The grain note is still prevalent, and that's the part of this that I'm just like, man, every other aspect of this whiskey is so deep and rich. And then you get this grainy, farmy, almost like plasticky, almost artificial, it feels like on the nose to me. I think I got a similar thing off of Beyonce's, but for a very different reason. So the nose is like 80% positive for me and 20% negative. Wow, big effervescent like thing at the front of the palate. Feels very bubbly. The depth and richness on this whiskey is outstanding. And it gets just like more and more fatty and thick on the palate as it rolls back. But the whole time, a little bittersweet, like that coffee chocolate bittersweet combo in the finish right now. So the color makes sense. Like, you see this color, you think it's going to be a dark profiled, maybe kind of bittersweet whiskey in some aspects. It is absolutely that. So it does meet expectations, I think, in many ways. And if you are a Woodinville fan, you're going to go crazy for this whiskey. If you don't like craftiness or graininess in your whiskey, like in the craft sense of grain, not necessarily in a young sense, then you're not going to like this, I don't think. And so for $150, on paper, this doesn't really make any sense. Woodinville has gotten to a point, I think, like, I don't know their production process, I guess. And I'm not a Woodinville hater. I love their Moscatel finish. It's one of my favorite finished whiskeys. But I feel like with their level of distribution, I hope their production processes are at a point where they don't have to have that craft markup that I think that a lot of us are understanding of when it comes to smaller operations. Like, hey, you know what? They're getting their feet off the ground. $70 for a 4-year. Let's do it and support this company. I don't feel that same level of, like, forgiveness, I guess. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. I don't feel that same level for Woodinville. Just seeing them kind of be all over the place now and have wider distribution, which hopefully means, like, more inventory. I could be talking out of my butt here, so happy to be wrong about that. But when I then, with that in mind, to see an 8-year for $150 at only 100 proof, they didn't even leave this at cask strength. It's so hard to justify for me on paper. And so, like, I think there are really cool things about this whiskey. Who knows? In a blind, it could be interesting. I feel like you could pick this out in a blind easily, given those grainy profile notes. Now that it's sat in the glass more, very chocolatey, very coffee on the nose. It reminds me, there's a note in here that kind of reminds me of our upcoming Driftless pick, but not the craft note. It's the coffee chocolate thing. Yeah, it's so hit and miss for me. I think I'll probably end up killing this bottle because in a certain setting, I think probably outdoors in the fall. Like, this is an outdoor fall whiskey, in my opinion. Take this out, you know, with the leaves falling or whatever. Take this whiskey outside. That's what I think. So the comparison then between that and the Remus, it's funny, side by side, how sweet the Remus feels compared to the Woodinville, which definitely is revealed now in this comparison to be more bittersweet, a little bit more savory. So the Remus feels extra, extra sweet. Super vanilla. But the Remus does not have the depth that the Woodinville has. And I think when you read the Woodinville press release about all the barrel experiments and everything, that all the care that went into this, I think that the depth that you're getting from this, especially as it develops mid-palate into the finish and it continues to have these waves of flavor, that's the standout part of the whiskey for me, and that does kind of outdo the Remus. Value-wise, is this $150 versus $110? I'm probably going Remus, but even still, I think both of these are just kind of out of whack when it comes to value. Looking around at what's on the market and single barrel picks and stuff, like, I don't know. I don't know. Like this Woodinville, for instance, I tasted a lot of stuff at Driftless that between maybe 6 and 8 years old, single barrels that you can probably get for $70, and they're probably gonna, for me, do a little bit better than this Woodinville. I know they're single barrels, but I'm just saying that if you're more discerning out there and you're looking around for stuff, I don't know. And I know a lot of people love this Woodinville 8-year. I don't know. Copper Wolf says the Woodinville 8's not very sweet. Yeah, it's more like bittersweet and rich. Well, not rich, enveloping, I guess. Layered. He says, then the toasted aspect up front, then it goes baking spice chocolate. The toasted thing, I see what you mean. It's just, it really is a chocolate bomb. I don't know, man. The more I sip it, so here's what I'll say. The Woodinville, if you sit with it and take 3 or 4 sips in a row, your palate acclimates to it, and I think it's really great. It's very jarring if you're coming off of like legacy stuff, and then you go to the Woodinville. It's a jarring transition. All right. Have I missed any super chats, guys, in the live stream? I'm going to start grabbing some Venmo super chats now for the giveaway tonight. I do have to taste that rye because I think once I start talking about this rye, hopefully that'll get people excited. Matt, thank you for a $2 super chat, man. Appreciate that. Have I missed any $5 like giveaway entry super chats in the live stream? I don't think I have. Yeah, Joe says Woodinville's too farmy. This is probably the least farmy Woodinville I've had besides the Moscatel finish. I will always say that this bottle is amazing. The finish works perfectly with the farminess. And it basically hides it. I think that Moscatel finish is so incredibly good. So Prozac, yes, I have had the Woodinville Moscatel is all time for me as far as finished stuff goes. I think Moscatel is one of the most underrated finishes. Nick Altman says, awesome night. Thank you, Nick. I'll get you in here for 4 entries, man, for tonight's giveaway. Daniel says, I get those farm notes on Starlight and Frey Ranch. I don't get them as much on Starlight. Starlight is a different, it's a brown sugar and maple for me on Starlight. Frey Ranch is definitely, it definitely has a terroir thing to it. But I think they all have their own kind of note. Well, I mean, it is terroir, like literally. But I think for me, Starlight is probably the one that I think is the most approachable. Frey Ranch bourbon cask strength, I think, is also super approachable. The ryes are more divisive, I think, for Frey Ranch. And it depends completely on the barrels if you're talking single barrels. Everything Spicy says, what's the spiciest bourbon you've had? Oh yeah, this is easy. It was either Ghost Pepper or Carolina Reaper infused stuff that I had from Brandon and Dan and Sean up at Evernorth, which is captured on video. The proof on the Moscatel is also 100, Terrence. And I bought the Moscatel finish when it was like $60. And then the price went up in Ohio to, I think, 100. And 100 is a tough sell for me. Greg says, I almost bought a Moscatel bottle the other day, but couldn't justify 105. See, that's the thing. At 105, you absolutely should try before you buy, if you can. Steve Parker says, keep forgetting the Eastern time zone start. Yep, good old Eastern time. All right. Let me grab a few super chats in the Venmo. What are we going to do next? So we've covered some good ground. You guys want to do a blind flight next? You think that's... How about this? You want to do the Evernorth blind flight next? Or should I do the real 4-sample blind? My palate is fresh right now, so maybe I should do the 4-sample blind. And then maybe I could taste this after the 4-sample blind, which is one of tonight's giveaway prizes. Sounds more like a tincture than a bourbon. Yeah, and I know I was just being being goofy. Spiciest bourbon or rye I've ever tasted. I'm trying not to confuse proof with spice because I've had like 156 proof, 159 proof stuff, but proof is not spice. I'm trying to think of something that's extremely peppery. One of the things that I think is disproportionately spicy is a lot of Blue Run stuff. Like the Blue Run High Rye, which was 111 proof, I want to say. That was for 111 proof, you would think it was 125 or 130. I've also had a single barrel from, it might be, no, it's not behind me anymore. I have a single barrel from Smoke Wagon, a rare and limited called Hot and Spicy, and it's true to its name. It had like habanero pepper spice on it. It's hard for me to remember this off the top of my head. But I would say, like, as far as just pure mouth destruction from proof and spice together, probably, I don't know, probably like a 27-year, 156 proof light whiskey, I would say. I don't know. All right, we're going to do the straight up blind next. Then I'll taste tonight's giveaway rye. And then we will do the Evernorth blind. So that's going to be the order of events moving forward. Nobody tell Dan and Sean that I like their Eagle Rare pick. Nobody tell them. That was good, though. What is this? Is that Remus 3? Oh, my God. Oh, I mean, come on, Remus 3. I'm going to set that aside. That is very good stuff. All right. So we're going to get 4 glasses. Sorry for the logistics here. This is a test card, so we're going to do the card thing for this upcoming blind. Thank you, Justin, again. Justin's in the live chat here. Thanks for the blind. So we've had a good week on the channel. Speaking of blinds, introduced a new blind series on the channel called What's That Whiskey? The feedback has been almost entirely positive. A couple good suggestions here and there. I think in those videos, I'm going to wait until I do my first sip of the whiskey to... Okay, I'm just going to rip into this. I think I'm going to wait till I do my first sip of the whiskey to give the answer to you guys. So I think on this most recent video, it was right when I smelled it, I showed you what's in my glass. I had a lot of people say to wait till the end to do the reveal. I don't like that because I want you to be able to see as I'm going if I'm headshotting it as I'm going or if I'm really wrong. I think there's a lot of fun in that. But I also understand that knowing it from the beginning takes out your opportunity as an audience member to kind of guess in those blinds. With that said, like right now, I don't have to show you the card on my first go. I could show you the card on a second go if that's something that you would prefer. So let me know what you think about that. But I think at least for those videos for What's That Whiskey, I am going to nose it completely and give you all these nosing notes. And you can maybe, you know, think to yourself in that time what you think it might be, or post a comment, or however you as a viewer of that video would want to do it. Remus 3 is very close to 5, says Derek. They're pretty different, but I'm a sucker for those citrus notes in 3. I think I've always had a hard time determining which one I like better. I'd probably say 5, but I've also always been a sucker for 3, and just smelling 3. I haven't had my bottle of 3 in like 2 years probably. This is ridiculous. Old school MGP, man. It was so much denser and richer than the stuff today. Excuse me. And the profiles were just darker in general as well. David King, can you talk about the Driftless Glen yields? Yes, I can. Sorry, guys. I just want to get through this. Justin, how... I looked for the end of your wrapping here, Justin, and I failed. So let's get these poured out. From your left to right will be A, B, C, D. Just going to pour them all out at once. Get them opening up, resting in the glass. I think for this, we're just going to go with standard protocol. Justin didn't send me specific questions, so we're just going to guess all the things that I normally guess in a blind. Age, proof, type of whiskey, is it finished or not, distillery, bottle guess. I think that's it. Maybe the other one was like primary grain or stated, stated distillation, something like that. I'll guess all of the things that I can possibly guess about these whiskeys in this blind. So right now, just coating the glass. Always like to coat the glass on these things. All right. Ron, what's up, man? Cam wanted to say, hey, brother, hope you're having a great weekend. Go Bucks, win the bye week. Yeah, right. Seriously. That's funny. Yeah, the arrest video the other day was hilarious. I mean, it's not hilarious. It was just stupid. But the whole concept of what happened was just ridiculous. That's a better way of putting it. Yeah, man. Good to see your name in here, Ron. So guys, Ron works for Bardstown. I'm sure many of you know that. And Ron's been a huge help. Like, just, support, friend, contact, like every role over the years and stuff, and seeing Ron at Pours in the Park. And Ron helped us get that Green River pick. I mean, he was the reason that we ended up getting that pick, which I think that's going to be dropping in October, is probably my favorite pick of the year. And I'm not just saying that because Ron's here. I've been saying that since we picked it. Patreon members, you know that. I'm not just putting on a show for Ron. But for the price point, for the fact that it's 5.5-year-old whiskey and it tastes like barrel-proof Old Fitz, tastes like blueberry pancakes, it's bonkers. So thanks, Ron, for hooking that up. And Discovery 12, speaking of Ron, we had a phone call the other day about that. I'm going to be dropping my review of Discovery 12. The goal is Monday. And then on Tuesday of next week, I'm going to try to do a blind of Discovery 12, a live blind of Discovery 12 versus the like 1 through 4, whatever I have left. I've got to look behind me and see. I think I still have Discovery 4, but I also may have killed that bottle. So I'm going to have to find that out. It's just 4 samples of Babe Ruth. Parker, I know that Justin would do that. Off topic, short barrel for driftless. Is it a first come, first serve for the top tier? No, we are not doing that. So let's talk. David King asked about this. We did some picks up at Driftless Glen, guys. We did 8-year Kelvin picks. A bourbon, a rye, and then we did a third barrel, which is a short barrel bourbon. It's the shortest barrel I've ever seen in person, drilling. Like, we drilled it. If you imagine, this is shouldn't do that on a live stream. Imagine a circle. And that's the barrel head. All the way at the very bottom of the barrel head, we drilled and nothing came out. So that's how short the barrel was. Like, we literally couldn't get anything out of it. The Casey, the barrel manager there, like, went off and came back, and he had like this much in a sample bottle, and he's like, this is all I could get you. So that was what I wrote my tasting notes with. Ended up that we got 22 bottles out of that barrel, and we have like 42 people or something in the micro batches tier, which is the highest tier. So I'm gonna buy all the bottles, and I'm gonna split them all up into 8-ounce samples and send all of those out to the people that are interested in it. So assuming that everybody's interested, everybody would get 8 ounces. And then I would have like 3 bottles held back or something like that. And then we'll kind of flex the numbers around from there after we determine who's interested. And then we'll prorate what everybody pays, plus shipping, plus supplies. It's going to be a whole project, but I want everybody in the micro batches tier that's interested to be able to taste the short barrel, and for us to be able to do a Zoom call about that short barrel and just taste it together. It's a crazy whiskey, but not in the traditional sense of a super dark, high proof short barrel. It's a weird, funky cheesecake profile, which I like. Okay. Derek says, Nancy has talked about the post-Mets flavor shift. Seems to be, if that's what it is, then I would believe it, because it is drastically different to me. So then, to the point about the other 2 barrels from Driftless, the bourbon that we picked is an 8-year Kelvin, 120 bottles, which is a great, kind of shorter yield, actually. And then the rye is 132 bottles. So both of those for 8-year products are pretty short. And they reflect that in the profile. They're so, both of them are so concentrated. So 120 bourbon, 132 rye, and the short barrel is 22, but we might only get 18 of those bottles because they don't ship partial cases. And so you're dividing by 6. So I'm trying to figure out, I want to get those other 4 bottles if we can get them. I'm going to beg Justin from Short Barrel, or from Driftless, excuse me, about the short barrel. I've got short barrels on my mind. Okay, I think I've stalled long enough. So let's throw out the cards now for these pours. Here. I need to make my life a little bit easier here. And just get stupid things off the table. But alas. Just as a quick reminder, for those of you watching this Blind Flight live right now, please no spoilers. If I show you a card, which I'm going to show you a card of what's in that glass, do not tell me. Don't say that name in the live chat. That kind of ruins the fun for everybody. If you do, mods will time you out. And if we don't have any mods, I'll make a mod and we can time you out. And if I show you Heaven Hill, don't start talking about Elijah Craig. If I show you Buffalo Trace, don't start talking about GTS, et cetera, et cetera. You know, just carry on as normal. Terrence, that's my backup plan. I'm asking them if they can put together 2 extra bottles of the 8-year bourbon with the 4 extra bottles of the short barrel in a box, even though they are different barrels. I think the SKU should be the same, so I'm hoping they can do that. If they can't, then I'm going to ask a friend in Wisconsin to pick those bottles up, and as a reward, I don't know the word I should use, I would buy him a bottle of the short barrel. He would be the only other person that has a full bottle of the short barrel. But that would enable us to have more for the folks in the Patreon. Brian, I'm not going to KBF. Brooks, it's not exactly 15-year wild turkey. Not exactly. Kinda. But that's all I can kind of say. There's a lot of just stuff flying around about those things. And even I probably don't know everything about it, but it is not 15-year wild turkey in the traditional sense that people think it is, even though the mash bills line up. So I think people that are selling those things on secondary and saying that it's 15-year turkey and they're marking it up to $500, they are not correct. All right, let's go on to the blind. Okay, let's do it. Whoa, that smells really good. Dude, Justin, what'd you send me, man? All right, let me show you guys what's in Glass A. Holy shit, this smells good. All right, let me know if you need to see this again. I don't know if the mic's... It feels like the mic's in the way or something. I know it couldn't be, but... All right, the nose of Glass A is so freaking rich. I don't know, like... This feels like legacy, old legacy to me. Kentucky. It has kind of something that reminds me of Old Turkey, something that reminds me of Old Fitz. I don't know exactly yet. Good God. That smells incredible. Let me grab some super chats while we're doing this also. I want to make sure I get caught up here. What the heck is this, man? This smells incredible. It kind of drinks like a weeder, though. It has that fall off like a weeder, but it's so rich. Tastes dusty. Like that could be Old Fitz VVS. That could be 13 Old Fitz VVS. I think it's Kentucky. Old Fitz, wheat, Kentucky. The proof, it drinks more intensely though on the front end than 100 proofer. That's like, this is my hang up. Oh my God, that's good. I am like, I got goosebumps, guys. And I say that sometimes, and I actually mean it. Wow. Oh my gosh. What on earth is Glass A? All right, we're going to move on. That is one of the best things I've tasted this year, so holy smokes. Travis R, let me get your super chat in here. Gosh, I need some room. Travis sent two entries, $10 super chat before the stream started. It says label fun for the Drums and Drams limited edition. Thanks for what you do. Thank you, man. William Molnar says, never forget. It's the 12th today, so yeah. We're a day late on that, but absolutely, man. How many years is it? What is it? 23 years now, which is crazy. I was in 2001. I would have been in second grade. That's right. Mrs. Allison's class when that happened. William Molnar, thanks, man. I'll get you in for 10, but I don't really want to say cheers to that, but absolutely never forget. What did I do? Will is in for 10. Jesse is in for 2, says Beyonce merch. Josh Snyder in for 1, says thanks. Thank you, Josh. Ryan Kennerson, you son of a bitch, says for nudes. Greg Y with a pizza slice in for 2. Thank you, Greg. Leo Ruth says please send nudes. Thank you, Leo. I got you for 3, man. Daniel Nichols says cheers. There we go. Back to the mundane PG rated super chats. Brooks in for 1. Thanks, Brooks, with just says super chat. And Adam H with nudes. One more time for the larger keyboard. God, guys. Lawrence Chang says, for the larger keyboard fund or more nudes. Hashtag Team Vanilla. We both are vanilla fans. And then here we go. Thad says, don't want to miss my chance to blow this opportunity. All right, Thad, got you in for 1. And finally, Justin, we'll get back to the blind now. Justin says, selling your nuts, in for 4. Thanks, Justin. Yeah, we sold out of going nuts. Marty, what's up, man? Of course, dude. I will always take care of you. I got you in for 2. Thanks, Marty. I'm scrolling up to see if I missed anything. All right. Casket salesman, what's up with the the funk nut, huh? I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. I got you in for 1, though. Brian says, Cam was at Highwire today. Tried a 6-year, 100% red corn that tastes like EC18. In theory or in practice? Like, did it have things that remind you of it, or does it actually have a profile like that? Excuse me. Jesse, absolutely, it is a thing that you missed about the Beyonce bottle. Okay, let's go to Glass B. No spoilers. Oh, Glass B smells like root beer. So this could be an MGP product, I would say. All right, here we go. Glass B. Yeah, this is very root beer heavy. Just a dark profile overall. Good balance to it, though. Doesn't feel particularly proofy. Probably has some decent age on it, but not excessive age. For a second, I was like, what if that's the Woodinville 8-year? Interesting. I'm not ruling it out. I'm definitely not ruling it out. I like B, but I'm a little so-so on B. I'm confused by that. The proofs on both of these actually feel kind of similar. Dude, Glass A is I don't even know. Dan Pacifico, I'll get you in for 2 here, man. Dan Pack in for 2 says 912 stream. Thank you, Dan H. is in for 4 entries. Appreciate you guys. Terry Powers, great to do the backbone pick with you, man. Says Irish nudes. Joe W says cheers. Look at this. No nude comment from Joe W. We're good. We're one. All right. We got a little streak here with no nude references. Russ got you in here for 6. Thanks, man, with the drum emoji. And Marshall C is going to be in for 5. Appreciate you guys for all the super chats. Jeez. All right, let's go to Glass C. I'm going to just write a few things here for B. I'm just going to write root beer, question mark. I'm going to write, this is not a guess that I need to make, but I'm just going to write Kelvin, question mark. MGP, 100 to 110, 10 to 12, question mark on age. Could be even as low as 8 in my mind. Possible Woodinville, 8-year. Those are just some thoughts. I don't think it's finished. I don't think anything so far is finished. What if B is Woodinville 8-year? If I don't have that recall after having just tasted it, my gut instinct says it's not, but who knows? George Woodcock says, missed the Beyonce bottle. Damn. Oh, jeez. He didn't miss much. It was shockingly, like, better than I thought, though. No, David King. It's Neuds. All right, let's go to Glass C. Let me show you guys what's in Glass C. Glass C, closed off, spicier. More of a vanilla top note, but very restricted otherwise. Turkey citrus on the nose. Let me show you what's in Glass C. All right. Could also be, like, this is a case of this intensity and this middle of the nose citrus that I could mistake. Like, it could be turkey that I mistake for MGP or MGP that I mistake for turkey. However, I don't get any yeastiness or breadiness. So to me, it's feeling less MGP than turkey. And of course, it could be none of those things, but that's where my brain goes. Palate is nice on that. Prickly, spicy. Opening up into like a little bit of a cream soda, citrus, kind of a funk to it. Reminds me of like a 10-year, it reminds me of our Dark Arts pick that we did. I could see this being 10-year MGP. 36 rye. I could also see it being wild turkey. Proof, I would say this is around 112 to, like, I'm going to give a range, 112 to 118. Kind of an open range, but that's first impressions there. And I couldn't really narrow this down Kentucky to Indiana because I'm between those places. It might even be a little hotter. No, I don't think so. It feels more MGP on the second sip. All right, look at the color on this. Oh, Jesus, Lord Almighty, Justin. little craftiness to this, actually. Or it could just be pure dustiness. I don't know yet. All right, Glass D. Let me show you guys what's in Glass D. There you go. So this is extremely dense on the nose. Kind of savory. Kind of that rubberiness that I'm not the biggest fan of, but the palate could redeem that. But besides that, it's like this burnt toffee. It's butterscotchy. Smells great. This could be a dusty bourbon. This could be a modern, like super LE from a legacy. This could be a craft product masquerading as something legacy, with the use of pot stills or small barrels in a more balanced way than most places. There's a lot of possibilities for this to me. Crap. So let's see. Palate. Oh, jeez. Super soft on the palate. I no longer think that's craft. No, but this next to Glass A will be crazy. Wow. Glass A, the butterscotch note on Glass A. I mean, good God. And that grape note. This is Glass A. If this is not Old Fitz, I don't know what it is. Glass A has to be Old Fitz. So then Glass D, little spritziness to D on the nose now. It's remarkable how tame D is on the palate compared to the nose. That is. I could complain about the palate being soft, like super soft. I'm not going to even say flat. It's not flat. Soft and flat, I think, are different. But it tastes so good. I mean, how do you complain about that? God, I don't know. While I think about it, let me grab a few more super chats here because we had some big ones come in from some familiar faces, from guys that are just way too freaking generous. So Guy with $100 super chat. Thank you, Guy. Cheers to that, man. And I'm actually going to say cheers because I'm running out of Glass A because I drank so much of it. Glass B, the confusing one. B is confusing. There's got to be something crafty in B. Huh. Anyways, thank you, Guy, and thank you, Toshi, for also, directly after Guy, also sending a $100 super chat. Thank you, Toshi. Says, cheers, Cam. Hope all is good. I hope you're good too, man. Morgan O'Neill, similarly generous with 10 entries, says, all the single barrels, put your cams up. All right, some Beyonce lyrics. All right. I was like, what does that mean? All the single barrels, put your cams up. Al Maloney says, all the single bottles. You guys are hilarious. All right, so I got Morgan in here. Let me grab two more. Michael McGuire. I got to actually, spelling. Sometimes spelling on live streams on a small screen is not good. Says, giveaway, thank you, man. And then, Al, I got you in here for 3 entries. I'm going to check PayPal here in a second because I think something came through. Al said all the single bottles. Thanks, guys. Ryan Alves, what's up, dude? Holy shit. Thank you. Freaking $100 super chat. Ryan Alves, guys, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure most of you probably know. Got Ryan in the 20 entries into tonight's giveaway. Says pay mine forward. Thanks, man. So we'll roll down anybody after Ryan if Ryan ends up winning one of the top 2 spots. For those of you who don't know, Ryan runs Bourbon Outfitter, and he's the person that, first and foremost, yes, he makes everything happen, but he actually saved our butts on our very first barrel pick. So speak of the devil, we're giving away this River Roots Rye, which Mythical picked. But again, this was one of the barrels that we were choosing from on our first pick there. And so when we were bottling the pick that we did, which was that very first rye with the drums on the front, we lost our online retailer in the middle of bottling. Like, we were halfway through the day and I'm like sitting there writing this stuff on the labels, and we lost our online retailer, and I got Ryan's contact info, and we got on the phone, and he saved our asses, and the rest is history because, been friends with the Junkies and Matt Porter and all the folks that have gone through Bourbon Outfitter. But that's really where we started our relationship. And then we've been in communication. We hung out at Pours in the Park, and so it's just been a great relationship, and I can't thank Ryan enough. So I will say thank you to Ryan with whatever the hell this legendary liquid is in Glass A. But he's the guy that makes all this happen. And so speak of the devil again, we're doing a drop tomorrow for the new Evernorth, which I will taste that after maybe this blind. I'll do that one for tomorrow's drop. Nick was there. Yeah, Nick was at the bottling that day. He said, I remember being there and being so stressed when that happened. So glad it worked out. Yeah. I was just like, the look on my face was like, uh-oh. Ryan, everyone use code CAM tomorrow. Let's go. Support the channel. No, actually, everybody use code BJ. Just kidding. Don't do that. Ryan, I actually listened to the mashup podcast that you did with the Junkies a couple weeks ago or whenever that was. I listened to that episode today in preparation for, possibly recording with those guys on Sunday. That was a fun episode. It was crazy though. Okay. Thank you, Ryan. So I think we're caught up on the old Venmos. And let's check PayPal just one time. I think there's maybe just one in here. All the pop-ups. All the pop-ups. Andrew Parrott. All right, Andrew. Says thanks for the giveaway. Got you in for 3. Thank you, Andrew. Got a little. I got the bourbon belches right now. It's all downhill from here. Use code JZ, says Marty. Yeah. BEY. BEY is the code. All right, let's lock in some guesses here. If I had to give you guys my order of favorite to least favorite in here, I think this will be fairly easy. Top 2's easy, A and D. A is the favorite. D is probably second place. And I would imagine that C is going to be third. I think so. I think C's third, just because it's more my profile. But B is also very interesting. So I would go A, D, C, B. So we can reveal them in that order. Now let me lock in some of my blind guesses for this. Ryan says, if I could get bottles to everyone's door for less money, I would. We do the best we can. If you need help with the zip code, give me a holler. Oh, yeah, we always... Oh, he said get NC. Yeah, I mean, Marty, they do the best they can, man. So that's why we have the mule stuff set up. And, I'm going to send you yours this time, Marty. And, we do the best we can. I mean, I think just credit to our, our Patreon community and Discord and everything. Like, I think everybody that needs a mule always gets taken care of. So it's pretty incredible, everybody's generosity. And I think we really have put together, like, the Junkies have a huge community of so many people, but I also think our community is clearly smaller. It's probably one of the smallest, one of the smaller channels that does barrel picks and has a Patreon that's got like pretty good numbers to it and everything like that. And I think that's just a testament to the commitment and the nerdiness, really, of the people that we have in our community. And that shows in the Discord. It's a super active Discord, and I really appreciate it. All right, let's see. RPR with a bunch of numbers. Let's see. RPR 50301. What area? What zip code is that? In for $2, 2 entries. Thank you. Okay. All right, one more time. Let me show you guys Glass Say if you've forgotten. Turn my head. There you go. I am determined that this is an Old Fitz. Which Old Fitz this is, I do not know, but probably 13 VVS. It has that dustiness. If it's not 13 VVS, this is a very, very good Old Fitz. This would be probably a 15 or a 17. It's not over oaked like the 19. So all my guesses are now going to go towards, I'm going to just guess that's the 13 because the dustiness makes sense. Let's go to glass B and finalize some guesses here. Marty says, please no, I'm not complaining by any means. I'm most great. Thanks, Marty. Yeah, I know, man. I know. I understand it's probably frustrating. Like if I had to wait 3 weeks for my bottles, I would be frustrated. If like for certain states that happens. And if I couldn't get it shipped to me, like it would undoubtedly be frustrating, no matter if the cause is just a state law or if it's the retailer themselves. I would be frustrated regardless. But either way, you know, we're always trying to do the best we can. So, and for those folks that actually like have to wait 3 or 4 weeks, you could also get a mule. You know, like if you're Texas and it takes a while, just get into the Discord and get a mule, and you probably get it 2 weeks earlier. All right. Let's go to glass B one more time. Reminder of what's in this glass. This is confusing to me, man. If that's that Woodinville, I'm gonna be pissed off. It's increasingly like first impression. I was not immediately in that camp, and I usually need to trust my gut. The more I sip it, the more I'm like, is that the Woodinville? Because it's so root beer, so barrel heavy, you know, like that Kelvin feeling. Even though that's not Kelvin, the root beer note feels Kelvin-y. I gotta come back to that. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this one. That might be the Woodinville 8. The proof feels right. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with that. I hate that I'm influenced by what I tasted tonight, but I got to go with it. All right. One more look at glass C here. This really feels like 10-year MG. This feels like Dark Arts to me. I mean, if this is not, I don't know. I'm gonna stick with my guess. I initially said 10-year MGP. I said it could be turkey, but it doesn't quite have something in it that would remind me of turkey, whether it's the cinnamon or the slight nuttiness or a little bit of the cherry, like astringency thing that you get. I'm gonna say this is, I mean, I don't know if it's our Dark Arts pick, but I think it's a 10-year MGP pick. Finally, glass D. This one is so confusing. So let me oh, shoot. Hang on. Need a bigger table. So, guys, check out what I put up here from Ryan. Talking about food around Louisville. Nick Taylor at Counter Service. I'll have to check that out. JL, real quick before I show glass D one more time, says, cheers, Cam. Thank you. And guys, if I miss any super chats, please, like all caps, remind me in the chat so I see it. If I missed your super chat, I don't want to leave anybody out. Justin says, Cam, you're drunk. Don't say that, Justin. I don't know. I don't know what B is. It's so confusing. First impression was that it's not Woodinville. All right, glass D one more time. Smells so good. This smells dusty, though. Why is it so tame on the palate? It's like 92 proof or something. I don't know what to do with that. Morgan, does your mic support different patterns? Yeah, I know that's the case. I have a mic. No, this is definitely a radio. This is the dynamic mic. I have a dialogue mic up here that's much better, but it's also going to catch so much room noise. So I have a vent under my table, out of frame. And when the AC's on in this room, you can hear the AC kinda. I mean, I have these things ran through compressors. Like I have some channel strips down here that people can't see, and I have these things each have their own strip. I've got compressors, I've got noise gates on these things, but you know, I try to just use the overhead mic for my pre-recorded content. And so I tried, when I look away, you know, it is what it is when I'm holding the card up. Keegan, thanks, man. Let me get you in here. Keegan Burdorf in for one. Says, cheers, Cam. Excited for the release tomorrow. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm thinking we're probably going to sell out before we even go to multiples, which would be the first time ever, but I think it could happen. We'll see, though. Best of luck, but we all know it will sell out. Yeah, we'll see, man. This has to be a Dusty. And it's in the... I have no clue what that is. Oh. Is that Wild Turkey Diamond? I think that might be Wild Turkey Diamond. 91 proof? Because I'm in my mind going, why does this feel like 92 proof? But the Dusties are 86. Why would this be, you know, or it's not 100. This is Turkey Diamond. I'm going to go with that. So that's 16 years, right? Wild Turkey Diamond. All right, let's do the reveal. So in my last place finish, Glass B, this one I have no clue. I said Woodinville, 8-year, 100 proof. I don't know. Let's see. This makes so much sense. This makes so much, because the heavy barrel influence, it's Shanks. And I did not care for this batch when I reviewed it, and it got last right now. So there you go. Shanks totally makes sense. They always mess with their barrels, and some of it's chinkapin and just different stuff. All right, it's that Michter's thing. Okay. Glass C. Gotta be MGP. 10 years. 112 to 118. Final guess on the proof. $114. I don't know. Oh my God. That's the other one that you can confuse these with. It makes sense though, because pretty sure there's a relationship between this yeast strain and MGP. I think. Damn. So I said 112 to 118. It's 107.8. It's 11-year, 3-month OBSQ. I'm bad at Four Roses and blinds, and this further proves that point. I never nail Four Roses and blinds. I was between Turkey and MGP, and of course I leave out Four Roses, which is the other high rye, or you know, Turkey's not particularly high rye, but high spice, let's say. And this is B, so this is 35% rye. Damn. And I said 36 rye MGP. Totally forgot about Four Roses. Age, I said 10 years. It's 11 years, 3 months. So, well, Justin, you got me on that. So let's see if D is Wild Turkey Diamond. That would be great if I could just get one of these fucking things right. Okay, 10, 20. Oh my God, I suck ass. But the proof, I was right on the proof. I was like around 92. I couldn't figure out what it would be. The fact that this tastes like a Dusty, this makes sense. I will say, this smells way better than the 2023 that I had. The 2023 that I had was herbal. This is not herbal. There's a J barrel, J3050. Man, never in a million years would I have said this was a Michter's Rye. Justin, you're stomping my shit right now. Some of the stats I'm guessing are pretty decent, but no way on the bottle guesses right now. That's a great barrel of Michter's. Like, that's the best 2023 I've had. And everybody talked about the H barrels and all this crap. The H barrels, you know, you can't copy paste your opinion of all H barrels. They're all single barrels. But the H barrels that I did try were not special even a little bit. That's a J barrel, and that's really good and totally different. than my experience. So this has got to be Old Fitz VVS, right? Oh my God, it's a 2021 Michter's 10-year bourbon. Wow. That is phenomenal, man. Dude, this is a phenomenal barrel of this. So you got me good with the Michter's products tonight. Damn. And I said 100 proof. So I set my proof high on all of these based on my bottle guess for number one, which I should not have done. But I also said that this first glass drank over proof compared to the nose. Or it felt higher proof, which for a Michter's product is a compliment. Man, great blind, dude. You stomped my shit, Justin. You stomped me. The two Michter's products, it's funny that those two won. Because Michter's 10-year bourbon and rye are... I mean, I think they've always been kind of underrated. There was a period of time where you could get those, like the 2021 barrels of bourbon. Maybe even now you can get them for like $250 or something, which is not terrible. That 2021's a great barrel, man. Cam, what about the A barrels of 2023 bourbon? Yeah, there's something going on with those, especially the super low number barrels. My barrel 26s, I have 3 of them. That is the best barrel of Michter's 10-year that I've ever had. I've never had any of the really old stuff that, from a decade ago, but from 2017 to now, barrel 26 of 2023 is my favorite, and I haven't had that many. I've probably had like 15 to 20 barrels in that age range that I've tried. But A0026 is the one. 0025 and 0027 sister barrels are also very good from that year. BT, what's up, man? Thanks for jumping in. Good to see your name pop up. Got you in for 4. All right, let's see what's happened in the chat while I was freaking being crushed here by Justin. Yeah, Jesse, maybe I was wrong about the Q yeast. I think I remember Nancy saying something about Q yeast, but it may not have been Q. I might be wrong about that. I'd have to go back and look at my emails. She sent me an email about some of the yeast strains at one point. Man, 2021 Michter's. Killer barrel. The Shanks is the weird one. Now, you know what? I have the Woodinville still poured. All right, this is the Woodinville 8-year. It is so damn close to this Shanks on the nose. A little less gritty and a little less chocolatey. There's more of like that cherry pie note in the Woodinville. But there's totally a relationship between those things. Daniel Nichols, thanks for the $5 super chat. Says, awesome blind, Justin. Yeah, it really was. That's a tough one. The proofs on that, too, when you keep the proofs low. Like, for me, when you find a 125 proofer, that's like a pick. It's a pick point. You can... For some reason, 125 stands out in my mind, and you can kind of suss it out. But when it's 94, 91, 92, and then 107, man, challenging. Here, Copper Wolf, I'll put this on the screen. Or can I not? Oh. My mouse is not... Okay, there we go. It's like, oh man, I thought my internet disconnected. That's a tough blind. Justin, just wait until blind 2. Yeah, I do have a second one. Not doing that tonight, though. Marty, do you think the Woodinville's worth the hunt and the money? Probably not. I don't know. Try before you buy on the Woodinville. So many people have hyped it up, but I also think a lot of people that hyped it up got bottles from Woodinville for free. Just saying. That's a pattern that I've noticed. I've noticed that with a lot of things this year. Let me tell you some things I've noticed very quickly. And I will not call people out by name, whether they're on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok, like wherever they are. But I've noticed an alarming trend, at least from my point of view, and I can put my foot in my mouth and say too much, and you guys know that about me, right? But people getting bottles from distilleries and not disclosing it and giving either one, glowing reviews, which can be believable. Like, Altschuler has sent me 3 bottles. All 3 bottles have been bangers. Woodwork Collective is what I'm talking about. And it's like, I'm not going to say they're not good bottles because they sent them to me and I want people to not believe that I'm being bought and paid for. I'll tell people they sent them to me. They did not give me money. There's no obligation. And take it with a grain of salt. That's all that I can say. But I try to build my reputation up to the point where people will at least believe when I say that. And I'm not saying others don't. But what I am saying is that I feel like there's an alarming trend this year of people not disclosing bottles that are sent to them when it's clear they were sent because the reviews came out or the write-ups came out or whatever before these bottles were even on secondary. So it's clear that they were sent. You don't hear that they came from the distillery, and then you can hear one of 2 things. You hear a glowing review, fine. But then sometimes you hear a review that's like, I don't know about this. It's not that great. And then at the end, the person goes, but I think you should absolutely pick this up. And it's like, well, how did we get from the review that said, I don't know about this, to the end product where you say it's absolutely worth this price? There's a disconnect there. And that's what I call the media sample mambo. You're dancing around the facts, and trying to keep the relationship. I've noticed that happening a lot this year. And it's not isolated. It's been happening a lot. I don't know what the deal is. If we are making content about this stuff, whether you consider yourself an influencer, a reviewer, just an enthusiast, it doesn't matter. You absolutely should disclose that you've received that product for free. No question. If you forget, that's one thing. But a track record of that is bad and dishonest. So, anyways. Why am I don't even know why I'm talking about this. I have no idea why I even got on the subject. Because of the Woodinville thing. Right. So we're talking Woodinville. I just noticed that, like, a lot of the people, like, there was a big media push. And I'm not saying that people are being bought off because I don't think that happens, really. I think it happens more on Instagram and TikTok. I think if that happens on YouTube, those are very few and far between situations where money actually exchanges hands for things to be said. But that does happen on social media. Don't think that it doesn't. But the Woodinville was a huge media push, a huge donation of bottles to channels and writers and Instagrammers and stuff. And so this whole thing got seeded of, this is a great release. And I don't think it's a bad release, but I think some of the hype that I heard about this is as a little overdone. Stylistically, though, it doesn't fall in my wheelhouse so much because it's got that kind of craftiness to it. So if that does fall in somebody's wheelhouse, I could understand praising it. But I think just on paper and everything else, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Brian says, have you talked to many people who have tried media samples versus regular products? I've had a surprising amount of stuff that tastes different from a bottle versus when I taste a sample. Bourbon Pursuit. God, that's probably what you're saying. I don't know that I've had a lot of people do side-by-sides. Like, so I remember when I got the Heaven's Door 10-year Decades bourbon, the first one of those, like, decades that came out. Excuse me. And I actually tested my media sample up against the bottle that I bought off the shelf, and they were identical. So that's one isolated incident. I don't know about media samples, but I know in the case of, like, Smoke Eye Hill, comparing the different batches of Smoke Eye Hill, that was drastically different. And the one that went to the Ascot Awards that was sent to me from Jeremy, who's a Patreon member of the channel, the batch that went to the Ascots, which I think that's the one that he said he had, even if it's not, that batch was it was remarkably better than the batch that I bought online. So I did find that to be interesting, and it could just be inconsistency. So yeah, I'm not trying to be like, right now I'm not trying to be I don't know. I'm not trying to be just dramatic and negative and all this stuff, but the media sample thing this year has been bothering me as I've been seeing that happen. And the Woodinville thing was an interesting representation of that, because you can sometimes see those media pushes. Now, like, let me talk from my experience just real quick before we get into the Evernorth Blind and we taste a couple other bottles. The Rack and Tour Rye that Rare Bird David Jennings sent my way, he sent me batch 1, he sent me batch 2. I did not do a formal review of batch 1, and I meant to, but then I just ran out of time. I wasn't producing a lot of content. I go through these phases. But I did taste the media sample on a live stream. Really liked it. And then batch 2, he sent to me, and I think he sent to some other folks as well. And one thing that I tried to do with my review, I was not told to do this. I was asking around like, hey, when do you guys think this is going to drop on Bourbon Outfitter? Because I wanted to drop my review close to the release on Bourbon Outfitter, because at that point, I had tasted it, I had written my tasting notes, and I knew I really liked it. So at that point, I knew it was a recommend. And I'm like, well, it's a recommend for me, so why not try to place this review video as close to the release as I can, a day or two, whenever it's going to be, because I want to help sell this bottle, because I believe in it and I believe it's worth the money. And Rack and Tour Rye Batch 2 is a badass bottle. No one told me any of that stuff. I just tried to figure out when it might come out, and I dropped the review at that time. And some other folks dropped their reviews the same day, because they were also probably thinking the same thing. That's not because we were told, hey, will you please drop your review the day before? That didn't happen. So when people talk about the bourbon lore holiday blend, and people are very suspicious of that, that's why when I look at that release, which I was not a part of, I don't think there was some like conspiratorial, concerted effort for everybody to put their reviews out that day, or in the same little time frame or whatever. I don't think that was the case. Now, in some industries, like in camera industries and when people do different reviews on YouTube, there are like these embargo periods where they send you the product and they say you cannot release your review until this date. And that's because on their end, they're working on press releases and they're working on, getting the product out to retailers and stuff and ready to go for the drop. And that does exist in industries where they say you can't release it until this date. And then everybody, when that date happens, they've already shot and edited the video. It's ready to go and they post it. I haven't personally experienced that in the bourbon industry, whiskey industry. And the Rack and Tour Rye is a perfect example. I just posted that when I thought it was going to be as close as possible to the release date, because I knew I liked it and I wanted to support the brand. If I would have tasted the bottle, decided I didn't really like it, but I was still going to post a video that was lukewarm or negative, I probably would have posted that a little sooner, because I'm not trying to hurt the sales of the bottle by posting it right up against when the bottle comes out. So I probably would have just posted it whenever. And that's like my mindset is I want to support the people that I think are doing good work, whether they're my friends or not, or they just sent me a free bottle. If it's really good, I want to support it. If it's not good but I still think people should know my opinion on that bottle, then I'll balance when I put that review out. It's all a careful thing that you do. You're trying not to be disrespectful, but you're also trying to be supportive in certain instances too. It's a learning experience for me in this industry. But there's no, like, in my mind, I have not experienced something that's like a conspiracy theory level of something happening in Whiskey Tube. I've said dumb shit in the past, like the 13th Colony stuff was overdone on my end, and that was stupid. But at the same time, I do think there was a lot of staves going into things, and things were not on the labels. So I think there's a point on both sides, but I probably shouldn't have speculated as hard as I did, and that's a mistake, and I learned from that. And I'm not trying to ruin people's livelihoods, and that's another aspect of this that has become more in my frame of reference. It's like I'm not trying to hurt people making money for their families, So, the Michter's 10, like the Michter's 10 thing that happened, the Elijah Craig laser code. The laser code thing at this point is just funny. and that was so overblown by people who were disagreeing. I think that was just a silly time in Whiskey Tube. And then the Michter's 10-20-23 A batch thing, I think is like a real thing. It's like pretty clear to me that those bottles were better than later letters in the year. So I think we need to take all of these situations one at a time and not lump them all together. It just was curious that a lot of these things happened around January 2024. Elijah Craig, 13th Colony, and Michter's all happened there. So we have this like mindset of conspiracy, whatever. Then the Bourbon Lore release happens. People already have that in their mind that something weird's going on, when I don't think anything weird went on there. And now I'm applying my own experience from Raconteur and receiving that bottle, which I think it's just like, here's a bottle, do with it what you want. And I told David, I'll review it. I'm going to make a video. And I didn't say it's going to be good or bad. It's before I even had the bottle, I said, I'm going to make a video. So I just want you guys to know how, like, from my point of view, this all goes down. There you go. Greg says, I truly hope distilleries pay YouTubers more than just bottles for reviews. The YouTube influence marketing is a massive driver. I mean, I'm sure a distillery would be willing to pay somebody to say something that's guaranteed positive. I would imagine that's definitely the case. They do that often with TikTokers and Instagrammers. That absolutely happens over there. Because think about how do you make money on TikTok and Instagram? You make money on brand deals. You don't get ad revenue and super chats like you do here on YouTube. It's a different thing. I'm not accusing everybody of that. I don't think I even need to say that, but don't take what I say to an extreme. But on YouTube, like, I can speak for myself. I will never take a cent from a distillery. Period. End of story. Full stop. It's not going to happen on this channel. Okay, so let's move on now. Just reading through the chats here. Jesse, I feel like the honey media samples are a lot more likely with single barrel products. I would agree. And listen, as a distillery, why the hell wouldn't you send a honey sample if it's a single barrel in particular? Gandhi wrote, no, the giveaway's still going. We're deep in the stream and I'm still not even there, but we'll probably spend for the giveaway. Why don't we say 11:15? So 11 minutes from now, we'll spend for the giveaway, get that done, and then we'll keep going here because it's going to be a longer stream. Morgan, I appreciated the investigative journalism aspect of those videos and streams. Seemed obvious from a semi-casual observer that 13th definitely skirted some TTB laws. Yeah, who knows? Who knows if the intent was there or not? We can never peg that on somebody, but it was definitely not where it should have been. And I think we can all agree to that. And then I think I probably took things a step too far. Live and learn, guys. Look, I'll tell you this. Being on the internet and having probably 1,000 hours of me talking on the internet now it's a strange thing, and you think about it and you think about, I go back to, sorry, excuse my language, but like, I've been doing this since 2020. Another channel's been doing it for 6, 7, 8 years. I think back to like who I was in 2020, let alone 2023, It's like, man, I've changed a lot and I've learned so much about this. And I would love to just go back and rip all those videos down, but it's part of growing and learning, and it's kind of in real time. James says, on the other hand, when you create a product that's as subjective as whiskey, you open yourself up to people either liking it or not. No one deserves a good review for effort. I agree, James. I agree. And some channels, have that philosophy of like, I'm not going to put out a bad review. I get it. I get that people are like, I'm only going to review things that I like, but that's not why I'm in it. Like, I'm in it to talk about the good, bad, and the ugly, because I think just the truth, like, and in this case, it's a subjective kind of truth because we all have different palates, but I think it's important to talk about the good, bad, and the ugly. For me, at least. I'm not the person that's out there just everything is good that I talk about. There's no fun in that. I think it's more important to drill down on things and analyze and be nerds. I prefer this community for its nerdiness, you know? Oh, Calvin, thank you for the super chat, man. All right, let's keep this moving, guys. I'm bogged down on just saying too much shit right now. Sorry about that. Thank you, Calvin. Cheers to you. And Gandy Road. Oh, what did I do here? Gandy Road, congrats on your... Oh my gosh. Come on, computer. Gandy Road says, congrats on your successful picks. Love everything Evernorth. Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna... Hopefully tomorrow goes really well with the pick drop, and we'll find out together. The action starts at 1 p.m. I think I got 2 more Venmos here. Parker, I don't know if I got Parker Sutton. After Al Maloney, no, I don't think I got Parker. Where are we going to go next? Parker says, for 4 entries, funds for spelling lessons. Listen here, I'm a pretty decent speller. It's just sometimes when I'm typing on the screen, I don't know what happened earlier. It was 34 minutes ago. Were we talking about spelling? Brett, thanks, man. Got you in for 2. Says, what's up? Sipping the 2020 Jack 2020 Jack Rye Special Release. By the way, my 2021 Michter's 10 Bourbon is horrible. Yeah, I've had some really bad 2021 Michter's Bourbons. My favorite barrel up until now, I wish I still had it and I could compare it to this one that Justin sent, was 21D1207. 21D1207. I just remember that because I loved it so much. That was a great 2021 barrel of Michter's 10 Bourbon. So, but I've definitely had some bad ones. Justin says, gotcha blind. Thanks, Justin. In for 2. All right. I think I'm good on the super chats here. Sladman says, hey, it's that guy. Thank you, Sladvan. And for 1, okay, so yeah, 11:15 is going to be the cutoff, just so you guys know. Let's real quick taste the whiskey that's going to go into that giveaway, which is this rye. There was one other thing I needed to taste, and I don't know what it... Oh, it's the Evernorth pick for tomorrow. Jeez. So let's do that. Hey, yo, I'm going to friggin' tip over. Here, you can see the chair that I'm in. It's a drum throne. I tipped too far on my drum throne. I needed a clean glass, so I got one. All right. Real quick, let's taste the Evernorth pick that's dropping tomorrow for Patreon. This is the last of the sample I have from the barrel. This is an experimental 9-year American whiskey. 3 years old. Don't freak out. 3 years old for 3 different components. Sagamore High Rye Bourbon, Sagamore Low Rye Bourbon, and 95.5 MGP Rye. They're all 3 years old in their own barrels. Those get blended into a used wave stave barrel 6 years ago. 40% high rye bourbon Sagamore, 40% low rye bourbon Sagamore, 20% 95.5 MGP rye. Those 3-year-old whiskeys, which create a burr rye, basically an American whiskey, sat in a used wave stave barrel for 6 additional years, making it a total of 9 years of aging. Because it's a burr rye, because it used already used cooperage, it's under the American whiskey label. So we're still calling it a single barrel because it was in that single barrel as a blend for 6 years, 2/3 of its life. So that's what we have here in the glass. Who used the barrel before the marriage? Says Slavin. I have no idea. I don't even know if the junkies know that information. They might, but I don't know. All right, let's get some. We'll do the jazz playlist to wind down for the night, even though we still have plenty of shit to go. Thank you for the 136 people in here, by the way. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. We are so close. Like, we're about a month away, maybe even less, a month away from 10,000 subs. So it's not a lot of subs, but for this channel, which is super slow growing, with a disproportionately large Patreon community, which is amazing, but as far as subscribers go, it's pretty small. Hitting 10K is going to be a really cool thing. And if that happens, probably happen in October. And if we could do, a celebration stream maybe on like the 24th, that'd be pretty cool. So thanks for being here. Thanks for making this happen, guys. Oh man, the nose on this Evernorth for tomorrow. I love it. I love it. It is so wave stave barrels impart intense oakiness, but I love the fact that this was a used wave stave barrel when this blend went into it at 3 years old. So what you get from the wave stave, you get the smoky quality. I don't want to say smoky and oaky, but that's really what it is. An oaky, smoky quality to the whiskey. And in this case, there's a lot of fragrant, aromatic spices. So there's a distinct sweet cinnamon note. It's almost like what Amburana should be, is a good way to put it. Doesn't smell artificial. Sweet cinnamon. I do find a clove note in here, and some people like clove and some people hate that note. I've never really gotten it like this on a whiskey. It's pretty distinct to this whiskey, and that makes sense because it's an experimental barrel. There's a little bit of like what is it, hazelnut maybe? I'm trying to pinpoint it. Almondy, hazelnutty something. I don't know. But it's not like super nutty. It's just a thing in the background. And then, like after all that's said and done, this is a like Coca-Cola coffee kind of profile too. It's intense. It's super rich and super intense. 118 proof. Oh, man. It attacks your palate. And it's only 118. It tastes like Coca-Cola. The only critique of this, and I like to give critiques of our picks, just as transparent as possible. This has a little bit of a dry finish on it, which was not uncommon for some of these experimental barrels that the junkies had. That it's just aromatic, fragrant spices. A little of this exotic kind of spice thing, too. Coca-Cola. Rich oak. Just dark, intense. So that's going to be... I think people are going to go crazy for this barrel because this profile is so different than most things that I've had on the market, to be honest. And I'm curious to see if it's going to be divisive in any way or if it's going to be like universally accepted. I don't know. Going hazelnut, says Sladvan. Phil, Driftless 5-year has a nice clove. Some of the Driftless stuff does have clove, absolutely. Steve, do you foresee an expansion of the tiers? No, we can't, The tiers are what they are. We're basically maxed out. The only thing that is going to get added, I think, are like 2 or 3 spots in the 25 tier. Yeah. Micro batches are maxed out because I need to leave enough space in the 50 tier and the 25 tier for those folks to, like, in a normal barrel pick drop of like 150 to 180 bottles, everybody can get one, and it's not 100% buy rate. And then after it goes through those tiers, I always want to make sure there are bottles left for the $10 tier. If you're in the $5 tier, that's your choice. I'm so glad you're there and you're supporting and you're involved in the community, but nobody in the $5 tier can realistically complain if the bottle doesn't get to their tier, because the $10 tier is $5 more a month. You get that access to the picks. You get giveaway entries and you get enough to move up $5 a month and not feel bad about it if your financial situation allows you to. So I don't think there's a complaint to be made in the $5 tier if it doesn't make it down there. So I only focus on, does it make it to the $10 tier? We have like 150 people in that tier or something. So I always want to make sure it does, unless it's a short barrel. Some channels shy away from picking short barrels. I don't think that's great for us because I want to find the craziest, most out there whiskeys in a good way. And if it's a short barrel and there's only 40 bottles, then I'm going to pick it and we're going to figure it out on the back end, you know? Like at Driftless, we picked a 22 bottle short barrel. We're going to figure that out in the top tier. But if it's 60 bottles, 70 bottles, it'll go top tier and then it'll go 25s and it's probably going to sell out. But that's not going to happen very often. So yeah, Gandy Road, this is an American whiskey, this Evernorth Tomorrow. Numinium, have you had any of the short barrel stuff? I have. I've had a lot of the short barrel Rise. I've had some Green River Source short barrel, which I was not crazy about, and that was like 2 or 3 years ago. Green River has now, that whiskey's gotten so much better. I've had a short barrel, it's like 10, 11, 12-year MGP bourbon that Jeb sent me, and then I brought it down to Texas, I think. That was good. So I've had a lot of good short barrel stuff. And we're picking there on October 9th. We're going to be doing some barrel picks of short barrel. So Numinium, let me get you in here for 4. The giveaway is wrapped up, guys. We're going to draw for the giveaway now. So no more super chats, please. Let me turn the banner off. All right. Super chat here. Louis or Luis. In for 2. Thank you. Oh. There we go. Appreciate the super chat. Michael says, if you were to blend 3 bourbon Rise to make a blend, non-unicorns, what would you go? Oh, that is a hard question. I don't know because you don't know what's going to work until you put them together and see if it's working or not, you know? The sum of the parts does not necessarily equal what you would imagine the parts would contribute, you know? Sometimes you put 2 amazing bottles together and it tastes like shit because the palate goes flat and it just doesn't work. I often find one of the best strategies, at least for home blending, is to have a base of something that is the majority, like a 70% of a certain whiskey, and then maybe add in like 10 of this and 20 of this. As opposed to like 50-50 blends often don't work. So if I had to pick 3 in theory that would work, sub 200 is like a pretty wide range. I'd probably go with like a Calumet 16 in the blend as like a Calumet 16 as a base, and then I would want to build spice into that because the proof is like 106 or so. I'd want to build more spice into the profile because you have an oaky, fruity, oaky backbone. So I want to add more spice and more proof, and I also still want to capitalize on the fruit notes. I wouldn't want to introduce nuttiness because I don't think that would, at least in theory, I don't think nuttiness would provide enough of a dimension to it. It's like I just want to grow out of the Calumet 16 in the blend. So I would go Calumet 16. I'd probably throw in sub 200. You could actually try a Jack single barrel proof rye because the banana notes would work well with some of those notes that you're also going to find in Barton Calumet 16, and you're going to get proof and you're going to get spice. So maybe you go like 70% Calumet 16, 20% Jack barrel proof rye. This is just spitballing, and then something to add like really dense fruitiness to it as well. I don't know on that last part. I don't know, but I'll have to think about it. But you see where I'm going with it. All right, Michael says Ambrana should taste like Jefferson's Tropics. Yeah, that's true. That cinnamon note, and that is very good. All right, I got you in for one more. Steve says, if you ever drop a low-proof product, how about naming it Nuts Are Gone? I don't know about that, man. Kagan says, speaking of spicy bottles, from earlier, I'm sipping a local pick, Old Forester Barrel Strength 132, and I get Serrano pepper. I can totally see that, man. Some of those Old Forester barrel proofers have crazy pepper spice, chili pepper spice. Port Charlotte 10 says, Slad, man, that's funny. Like, what would add the densest fruit? To me, it's like, if you could go back to Remus 3, throw that in there. Oaky, fruity. Weird call out here, but like Peerless High Rye, I'm looking at right now. That sounds like it could work as a small, 10%. I mean, I could do that blend right now. We could mess around. Okay, let's keep this going. I wanted to do that Evernorth blind, but God, we're 2 hours, 16 minutes deep. I mean, if there's only 10 people left at the end, people can just watch the replay, right? Let's do the giveaway. Giveaway is closed, folks. Let me make sure I didn't forget anybody recently here in the chat. We got Sladban, Gandy Road, and Calvin. Okay, let me check Venmo, PayPal one last time just to be sure. We have one more Venmo from Avery. Glad I checked. Thank you, Avery. I got you in for one. Says, just got on, have to rewatch. You put in the work. You deserve some money, brother. Don't worry about making money on the side. Just stay true to yourself. Love you, man. Thank you, Avery. Appreciate that. We've been talking about stuff in the Patreon. That's kind of what that's about. I've been making a lot of posts in the Patreon about just overall topics and stuff about the channel. All right, what's up, Dustin? After Thursday Night Football, checking in. Hey, man, I found out 22 bottles came out of that short barrel. And Dustin, I'm going to hit you up if they don't like to ship partial cases. So we have 3 cases plus 4 extra bottles. If they will not ship partial cases, even though I'm trying to get them to put those 4 bottles in with 2 extra bottles of the other bourbon, if they can't do that for whatever reason, I'm going to talk to Justin Sharpie. And then I'm going to beg you to drive up there. I don't remember how far it is for you, but I'll beg you to drive up there and grab those 4 other bottles of the short barrel and keep one for yourself and send those to me, because everybody else in the upper tier of the Patreon is just going to get, we're all going to get like 250 ml samples sent out. We're going to just break the barrel down into samples. 8-ounce samples is really what I should say. All right. Giveaway time. Let's do it. Dustin says, I got you. We'll see, man. Justin did not text me back after I asked him that, so I thought that was kind of like possibly bad news. It's hard to tell. Okay. Let's share the screen. So, as we normally do, let's just check in on the Super Chats, guys. So here's the spreadsheet. The way it works, your name is on the left, your number of entries on the right, which is your dollar amount divided by 5. So your dollar amount divided by $5 per entry gives you your number of entries. So Nick Altman here with a $20 Super Chat. $20 divided by $5 per entry gives you 4 entries. Then his name populates over here 4 times for his 4 entries, et cetera, et cetera. Extrapolate, all the way to the bottom here. So we're going to have probably from Nick, we're going to have you check your names if you're still around. If I mess this up after the stream, let me know, and we will add you into the stream next time with bonus entries if I did make a mistake, because I was tracking these myself tonight. We're going to do this in 2 parts. So from Nick down to George, and then we will do from George down to Michael. And I know that Avery is correct with 1. So we'll do this in 2 chunks. All right. So from Nick, come on, Mouse, you got this. Nick down to George is our first set here. So in the next 60 seconds, if you see a mistake, please let me know about that mistake. And thank you. I see Michael McGuire jumped into the Patreon, so I appreciate that. And some other folks have jumped up into the $10 tier from the $5. So that's great. Thanks, guys. Marty says, Cam, I had 3. Marty, I think you entered twice, right? So if you entered twice, your name's going to appear 2 different times. If that's not the case, I'll fix it. Don't worry. Let me see. I don't remember if you were Venmo here or on the YouTube stream. I think you were in the YouTube stream. So did you do 2 and 1? Sam says, add me for 2. Sam, are you messing with me or not right now? Oh. Bro, come on. All right, I'll add you for 2. We were cut off, dude. I appreciate you, but we were cut off. All right. And I promise now I'm going to taste the bottle that's in the giveaway after we do the damn giveaway. I'll do it right now. I got you, Sam. Come on. All right. The bottle, the top bottle in the giveaway is this ridiculously dark 133 proof MGP rye that Chad Huffman picked, which is so good. Look at that. Come on. All right, let's scroll down now. From Guy, which I know, Guy, 20 entries. We're good. From Guy down to Avery. Actually, so I don't forget. In for 2. Sam's in for 2. If he spoils this, Sam, you're good. So from Guy down to Avery, check your entries, guys. If you spoil this with those 2 entries, I'm going to feel bad. The color on this MGP rye. So this came in with 3 other barrels. It was just a 4-barrel pallet that came into River Roots. The first 4 of these ryes they got. And all of them were like 118 to 120, something like that. And this thing is a 133 monster. Oh my goodness. All right, Marty, I'm good. I'm glad you're good. Gandy Road with a cool blend. Tamdu 12-year, ASW Georgia Heartwood, Faraday West Indies rum. That's a crazy blend. So, 10 more seconds. Let me know if you guys are good. Oh my God, this rye. All right. So the rye that is the top prize tonight. It's blistering in the best way. I've had a lot of these 130 proof MGP ryes now, these 11.5s. This is the most flavorful one. I can't even talk. I'm salivating so much. A lot of these are just too hot. This is not too hot. It is so packed full of just it's that rich, brown, buttery, molassesy, but still herbal and spearmint in some ways. Earthy spice. Just turned up to 11. All right, so here we go. Let's do this giveaway now. From Nick down to Sam's 2 entries. We're going to spin it 7 times as we normally do. That was a giveaway from earlier. Not a giveaway, but a randomizer earlier on the Patreon about a pick team. So here we go. From Nick down to Sam. You see, we're good. Let's spin it 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we go. Last one. 7. Boom. Guy with the rye. So Guy is going to get this rye that I'm drinking right now, this River Roots. Congrats, Guy. And Dan is going to get the Evernorth pick for that's going to be dropping tomorrow. So I don't know if Dan's here right now, but I'll let Dan know. He can still buy one tomorrow. He can definitely get a second if he wants, or this will serve as his pick for tomorrow. So that's awesome. Congrats, guys. We have more stream to go. If you want to hang around, please hang around. If you don't, if you want to catch the replay, totally understand. I had to take a picture for myself of the screen. Guy, you're going to love this, dude. And I'll send a sample to Dan also of this rye. But thank you all so much for your super chats. Crazy support tonight. Seriously. Much appreciated. And, yeah, I don't know. This is crazy. Great blind from Justin. That Michter stuff threw me off. And the Four Roses, too. All right, so we have to do an Evernorth blind now between 5 ryes. Here's how this is going to work. I want to move through this because we're 2.5 hours in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour these 5 different ryes. Let's do 4. I'm going to eliminate my pick. We're just going to do Sarah's pick, and then rye 3, 4, and 6 from Maury, who sent 3 and 6. We'll do 4 Evernorth ryes. I'm not going to have cards for them for you guys, so I'm just going to go through them very quickly, give you notes, and then do a preferential ranking and do the reveal, and then I think we're done. I didn't talk tonight about the Drums and Drams LE. I didn't give you tasting notes. We can do that later. And the upcoming 12, almost 13-year rye from River Roots that we picked just about a week ago. Not going to talk about that tonight. We can talk about it some other time, but that's a November and a December drop. We have some freaking great barrels coming for Drums and Drams. And listen to this. We started picking barrels in March. We started releasing barrels in April. And we're going to have done 20 barrels this year. And we're not going to keep that pace up. We're going to dial the pace back a little bit. I went kind of crazy on picking barrels last month. But 20 barrels in 8 to 9 months is a pretty remarkable pace for a channel that doesn't even have 10,000 subscribers. So I have to say thank you to you guys, and especially people in the Patreon for making all that happen. Sladvan, you get out of here. Casket Salesman. Sipping the 2024 Boulder Spirits blend right now. About to pour a TKO pick. Dude, so I have the Boulder is going to get here tomorrow from me. Matt Porter sent me a text and goes, dude, you have to buy this. He's like, I just bought a backup. So I said, I'm ordering 2 right now. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave Justin's pours out because, yeah, we're going to leave these out. Scoot them forward on the table. I got to grab a few glasses. I'm only going to have gone through 15 glasses tonight, not all 20 of these glasses that I own. This is called restraint, showing restraint. This MGP rye at 133 is crazy. All right, alrighty. Of course, I got to get a new sheet of stickers. So I'm just going to write 3, 4, 6, and Sarah. Writing in pencil, writing lightly, so that I can't see through these glasses. So from your left to right, as I pour right now, will be 3, 4, 6, Sarah. So we're putting 3 Evernorth. Man, I feel like I might include mine. I don't know. I'm going to do it because, listen, Sarah and I's picks always flip-flop for me. So we'll make this 5. We will make this 5. Why not? I want a true representation. If I was crazy right now, I would also include the Pour Nerds barrel. I would include Matt Porter's, but I definitely don't have the capacity to have that much more whiskey tonight. Okay, so let's do it. This is Sarah's. It's going to go here. This is mine. This is rye 4. And finally, we have rye 3. Yep. Okay. And rye 6, which if I had to bet on a winner, I would say rye 6. So let's just start mixing these up. Gandy Rose says, Cam, do you have a take on Murray Hill Club Special Release 4? That one to me was overfinished just a little bit, and I think Nancy even agreed with that. But I thought it was a really good bottle. And I'm going to revisit it at some point before the end of the year for sure. This is Mike G's sample that he sent. It's really good. It's just a little bit overfinished, but the flavors are delicious. You know? Oh, shit. Okay. So I'm going to move from your left to right. These are thoroughly mixed up, I think. And again, no cards, so we'll just kind of wing it, go quick. And this is basically going to be like a barrel pick. And that's fun. It's like barrel picks to me. The first thing I do is eliminate the ones that I don't want and then work with the ones that are good enough and go from there. So that's going to be the strategy that I take with this lineup. All right. Daniel, if this is like a barrel pick, we'll be here till 4 a.m. Listen, you know, let me set the record straight on a few things. Number one, I'm 5'7" and a quarter. Short, but not too short. Number two, I sometimes take a long time on barrel picks. Sometimes I do them in 30 minutes. That's not a joke. So there's a wide range. That's it. That's all I'm going to set the record straight on, but it's more fun to joke about me taking 4 hours. So, glass, let's call this glass A. Or we'll just do, that's what we'll do. Let me sticker these. So I can track these as we do this. A, B, C, D, and E. Cool. So glass A now. Glass A. You know, sometimes on these ryes, I get a little bit of a maker's mark note, a little bit of a dairy note. It has a little bit of that. But it feels dense, rich, hot, a little hot. I think all of these might be, you know, all these Evernorth ryes are almost 130 proof. They are kind of hot. So before I make any judgments on that, I'm just going to nose quickly down the line everything. All right, glass B, softer. Much softer. Sweeter. A is blistering. And I don't know if that's good or bad. B, softer, more approachable, still dark. C, kind of like A, crawls up your nose. Cola. A crawls up your nose with less richness, more just spice. C crawls up your nose with a darker profile. D, totally different D. Total outlier. D is like... D is... I hate to make guesses, but that's probably the MGP, because one of these is MGP. And E... All right, E has almost a nuttiness. Yep. I'm doing side-by-sides to see if I can suss that out. So E has a little nuttiness. So for me, just on the nose, I'm going to rank these. All right. B and C are definitely in the top. Cam, let me tell you something as part of the community and a fellow channel about your picks. They are unique and accessible. That's what the community needs, and you are delivering. Thanks, Marty. Thanks, man. Oh, my God, Jeb. The noses on these get so similar, and they run together so quickly on the Sagamore Rise. The only thing I know for certain, between the top four, D is in definitely last place on the nose. Between the top four, B, which is up here, is the softest on the nose, but still intense. But softest on the nose. C is intense on the nose. A is hot on the nose. And E, I need to compare to C. They're very similar. So I'll put A in last, even though it's the hottest nose. Most intense, but least flavorful. All right. So let's go through this now. Let's start with the last place on the palette, D. Tastes like Beyonce's whiskey. It almost tastes like that high malt content. That's got to be 95.5 MGP. All right. So that's going to be last place in here. It doesn't stand up to the profiles. Even, I've only tasted that one, but it's clear. Which means that's probably Rye 3. So after tasting that, these all smell different. So once you get that on your palate, into your olfactory, you know, just everything about it, all of these taste different now. So A, which I had in fourth place as being the hot one, has this tar thing that I love about it. E, very cinnamon spicy. C is similar to E. I think it's richer than E. And B is the soft one on the nose. All right, let's start tasting them. Jeb, just written tasting notes, and I tasted it earlier in this stream. So that was Glass A, the hot one. All right. my guesses from top to bottom, which I have no idea how this will end up, would be in first place would be Rye 6, then Sarah, then Rye 4, and then Cam, and then Rye 3. On to Glass E. I think I like Glass E more than I like Glass A on the palate. Super lively on the palate on E. It's not as dark. Ooh, that palate is good. A, to me, I love it's almost rubbery. I said like a tar note on A. But it's a little flatter on the palate. E stands out on the palate for me. Jeb, it was just super quick, that tasting. All right, so water's on the palate. So whenever I have water on the palate, I have to reacclimate because the first sip after water tastes too soft. So what I'll do, just get some whiskey on the palate. Spit cup. Whatever. All right. So on to C. Man, C smells. So this is E, which I like the palate. C on the nose is crazy. None of these palates have lived up to E. So A and C are both darker. A has the tar note, which is maybe the darkest. C is dark and rich and maybe more balanced than A. But none of and they both are great whiskeys. But E, which I like less on the nose, the palate is insane for E. It's gonna be a toss-up. This is like doing a barrel pick, you know. Steve says, if when you can you talk about what store picks truly means? I see a lot of examples where owners say we don't have the allocated product, but we have a store pick. So a store pick is just a single barrel pick, just like we're talking here. All of these are single barrels. And so, Steve, if I apologize if I am being redundant for you or saying something you already know, so forgive me. But, the idea of a store pick, which is the same exact thing as a single barrel pick, it's just that you're saying that you did it with a store as opposed to with a Patreon or a whiskey club or something else. You could call all of them single barrel picks. You could call all of them store picks. It's kind of interchangeable. It's just that, you went to a rick house and or maybe they sent you samples of different single barrels and you picked through them and you picked your barrel and then they bottle it and send it to your store. So in that case, I don't know what allocated product you're talking about, but let's say they don't have Blanton's, but they actually did a Blanton's store pick. That would not be a scam. I understand why you would think that. It's like, well, you have your Blanton's, but you don't have Blanton's. But in that case, it's just that they were allocated a pick of Blanton's. They went and picked their barrel and they got 220 bottles out of the barrel or whatever. And now they have all of those to sell because they bought the whole barrel. Whereas that store trying to get 220 bottles of regular Blanton's would be freaking impossible, from an allocation perspective. So it just depends. A thing like Blanton's or something that's heavily allocated, much harder to get a store pick of that to go and actually buy that whole barrel. Whereas if you're working with a non-distilling producer like River Roots, which we've done a lot of River Roots picks, it's much easier because River Roots, they are sourcing their stuff from MGP or from Beam or Heaven Hill, or wherever it's coming from. And then you go there and you buy it, and it's different, because it's not like they have a brand that everybody wants already like a Blanton's. But I understand what you're saying. Just a single barrel, the store bought the entire barrel, and they want to sell that barrel. And if it's allocated, then they probably have much more of that product than they do the allocated product. You know, when is a store ever going to get 180 bottles of an Elijah Craig barrel proof batch? Probably never. But if they buy a barrel of Elijah Craig barrel proof, then they have probably 150 or so bottles coming out of that barrel. All right. I'm going to move A over C. And let's go to, finally, the last one, B. Oh, B is good. Oh, B is good. This is the one that felt more relaxed. Oh, man, that's good. That's just, like, okay, again, two differences in a finish for me. I talk about this too much, but some finishes are only spice. That's kind of cheap. It's like a cheap trick. Some finishes are all flavor. This is a finish that is all flavor, and it's long and lingering, but it's not a spice bomb. Oh, man. This is good. The richness is off the charts on that one. I got to see if A can live up to that on the palate. Oh, that's a toss-up. A is so good. All right, 5 more minutes, I promise. Then this blind is done, and we're going to wrap this up. Gandy Road, sipping on some NBC 33-year Canadian, 152 proof. Call it my first French kiss. My lips go numb, and I know I have something special. That's good. Man, the freaking palate on E is the best palate. That is outstanding. The balance on B is so good. And then A and C, I'm trying to figure these two out to see if these are going to move around at all. Let me taste C one more time. C is, man, it's not complex. C is just a dark fruit bomb. Tastes like Buffalo Trace, C. One more time on A, which is in second place currently. The fruit notes on C are stupid. A, this is that tar profile. But it lacks something. The nose is great, but the palate lacks something. Wave stavy, it feels like Glass A. Yeah. All right, on to E again. The palate on this. All right. E is going to go over A, and C. I think B is probably the winner. This B, while it is reserved on the nose, the finish is just flavor. All right. I have to give my palate just a quick break. I think C might move over A. Again, I might flip those one more time. This is tough. This is what made our pick at Sagamore so tough. I think these things start running together. I'm much more sober than I was at SAG or at Evernorth when we did this pick. That was a rough day. All right. Get the palate on E. I can't get over it. But the nose is not as good as the others. All right, one last sip. All right, I've got the order. So, let's see how this goes. If last place is not rye 3, I'm going to be very surprised. This is what's interesting. One of these stood out as really hot and tarry and somewhat wave stavy. And I've said that about one of these picks, which was rye 4. But I don't know. I'm not making guesses. I am not making guesses. But I've said that about rye 4. And that's like in the Junkies blind of the 8 ryes. I go, this is like root beery and wave stavy. And so I've said that about rye 4. One of these felt like that. One of them, again, felt like rye 3, like MGP. One of these had a palate that stood out. And the only one of these that I've said that consistently about is my pick, interestingly enough. One of these felt like Buffalo Trace, like dark, just a simple dark fruit thing. And I think I said that about rye 6. And then one of these, I didn't have a, I guess the other one would be Sarah's then. So let's see. Glass D, last place, is rye 3. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. That one is not my jam. Glass C is the one that I said was kind of Buffalo Tracy. I think this is the one. Yes, this smells Buffalo Tracy, and this is the one that I think would then have been, I guess, rye 6, because I think I've said that about rye 6. This is rye 6. Okay. Which is crazy, because that landed in 4th place, and I thought that would win. This rye 6 is the most crushable out of all of these by a long shot. And here's the deal. These are ranked 1 through 5. Rye 3 can go over there in a different category because it's not the same whiskey. These 4 are all Sagamore 52 ryes. This shit is the most underrated whiskey out there right now at the price point. You will not find stuff like this at this price point. This is crazy. So C is rye 6. That is so freaking crushable. But it is kind of simplistic. Glass A, this was the tar. Like the first thing I said when I smelled it, I'm like, this is hot and it smells like tar. And then I was getting into that wave stavy profile. If I had to guess, I would say this is rye 4, because that's kind of what I said in the Junkies blind about this on that video. So let's see what this is. It's rye 4. So that means the Cam and Sarah picks did win this out. All right, Brandon. Brandon has said that this would not happen. Brandon has a different order for these. Interesting. Okay. So let's see if Sarah won or if Cam won. I'm probably, listen, Sarah probably won. But I've mixed these up 3 times at this point. So Glass E is the one in second place I said had a great palate, but the nose was not there. God bless America. It's mine. Yeah. Yep. And that's why I picked it. When I picked it, I said, I'm picking this for the palate. And I was so drunk at that point. And the palate is good. The palate is really, really good. But Sarah wins again. She's going to love this. She's going to love... I might have to take this stream down. The balance on her pick... God. Come on. This is the one I said had the finish that was all flavor. Come on. All right, well, it's been a great stream. Oh. Well, yep. Joe says, time to let Sarah run the barrel picks. Man. Second place. I don't care about second place. I care about third and fourth place. Rye 4 and Rye 6. I cannot wait to text Dan Shook and say, listen, Rye 4 and Rye 6 suck. And your Eagle Rare pick sucks, even though I said it was great. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Devin, you're right. You 3 are the ones. Sarah, Russ, and Devin on the next pick. And I'm just going to have the camera. I'll just record you guys. Yeah. And I was so shit-faced drunk at that point. I couldn't even formulate a sentence. And it's on camera. Joe says Rye 6 is better. Your palate is blown. Rye 6 is good. It's just softer all the way around than all of them. And it's simple. It would be interesting at some point, Joe, to put, like, let's say we put Rye 6 up against Sarah's pick, side by side, nothing else. That would be an interesting comparison. And I think, like, having these other, Rye 4 and my pick, which are definitely hotter, having those in the mix could kind of muddy the waters between the 2 more reserved options. So, yeah. All right. The wife is always right, Pink Dan. Candy Road, if only you were friends with the junkies. Well, some people are upset that I'm friends with the junkies. Just check the comment sections. I know those videos are a lot. I've been on too many of those, but I'm probably going to be back there in October to check in on the barrel that we have of MGP bourbon, which is currently being finished in a Wild Turkey barrel. I'm going to check in on that in October. We're probably going to record a podcast when I'm there. Maybe some other things. We'll see. And Parker says the real winner here is Beyonce. And that's right. Beyonce nude. Send nudes. And if you don't know what I'm saying at this point in the stream, just rewind. Gandy Road, has Sarah's pick won every battle? No. Sarah's pick has won 3 times, and mine has won twice. So she is winning overall for me, but that's okay. All right, that's going to do it, guys. Cheers. I thought this was the Remus that I was saving. It is. All right. Actually, because of Justin, cheers with some Michter's 2021 10-year rye whiskey, an I-barrel at 94.4 proof. That is going to do it. Thank you for the support, super chats, everything. Long stream, good stream. and I'll see you guys very soon here on Drums and Drams. Thank you. Great night. Really, really great night.